By everybody, I mean one person. Who's here? Hey, oh, hello, Stokely Disc Golf Method. And hello, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Hello, Wookie. I wish I could do the Wookie. I can't do it. Hello, Mr. App 1254. Wait, no, yeah, Mr. App. Mr. Appleby. Mr. Apollonia Campits, what's up? Hello, Wes Warren. Hello, everybody. Hello, Levi. Disc Golf Life. Which Levi's? I know a Levi in California. I know one in New Zealand and one somewhere else. And who is Zamul Vang? Is that right? Pronounced right? Hello, everybody. It's so great. I get to, like, all of a sudden, hello, Jeff Shelton. I just get to click on my thing and everybody just jumps in and says hello. Oh, so hey, what's up, Oak Grove? Checking in. Yeah, I'm about to post tomorrow about the film. I know you can't make it on Thursday, but if you spread the word, the more people, the better. We want to stuff the ballot box and make sure everybody at Netflix knows that Disc Golf would do well on their channel. So funny story. So right as we were going live, Jane says, hey, hello, Grand Junction, and hello from Phoenix. Jane says, okay, we're going live. Don't be picking your nose, right? Of course, right? You don't want to like have you go live and you got your finger up your nose. But the part of me that appreciates good content also says, God, I should do that on purpose and be like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. And then pretend like it was an accident because it would be funny. Anything for content. I'm going to run with the bulls in the next couple of years if I can live stream it. Wait, can we live stream running with the bulls? Can I put a GoPro on my head? I can put a GoPro on my head to run with the bulls. I'm running with the bulls next year. Hello from New Zealand. I am so jealous. You guys are having so much fun down there. Look forward to seeing you at Pickard too. Yeah, I will be in Des Moines. Des Moines, it was so much fun. Running with the bulls, I would never do something as stupid as to run with the bulls. That's completely moronic. Unless, of course, I have a GoPro and I can put it on my channel, in which case it's a no-brainer. Would you be mad at me if I ran with the bulls, Idron, or would it be cool? That'd be cool, right? To run with the bulls? Sure. Yep. She's all for it. So check out what Adriana did. She's like, I'm not married. Well, I'm not married, but I'm not with a dummy. She took out a life insurance policy on me that's basically worth the same amount of money as I'm worth alive. Right? Is that about right? So basically, she it doesn't matter if I live or I die. I'm worth the same amount of money to her. See, she's smart. You'll run interference on the bulls. Run the bulls. Let's see. I got a few tame ones. You can come learn. Wait. If you have a farm and you have I'd love to ride horses down there. Yeah, I just decided right now that I'm running with the bulls. Once I realized I could put a GoPro on. Yeah, we do. We'll look into it. Look into what it takes. Because I don't want to be one of the people that runs with them that doesn't get any, then the bulls got to get close enough to make it like real. Is there anybody on here that's ever run with the bulls? I have a friend that did it. But if anybody here has done it, please check in and let me know if I'm going to get killed or if it's really fun or if it's little of both.
So the Instagram comments don't go over.
Oh, I don't see Instagram comments. Oh, Roger says hi.
Dave Quint asked if you're going to be in Arkansas in April. Are we trying to see the solar eclipse? And I didn't know there was.
Wait a second. There's the solar eclipse in April? Well, we're going to be at Jonesboro, and it's in Arkansas?
Yeah.
Wow, did you look into it?
Just posted it, so.
No, for sure we'll go. Yeah, we'd love to do that. It's amazing so here's the thing so this is how solar eclipse happen. So obviously the earth is flat. And then because of the I need more coffee. I can't even make up anything stupid to add to that. So, but no, I would love to do that. Go to the Tomatina as well in Spain. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna do. We've looked into the tomato fight, right? And then there's the paint fight. And there's another one was it India, right? Where they fight with like paint. Yeah, we're gonna do all those things. 2 GoPros, one forward and one rear facing. It's a blast. Yeah, let's see. Run with the Gophers. Hey, what's up, Harvey? Thank you. I love having exploits. Terry Calhoun has bungee jumped over the Zambezi River. Adriana bungee jumped in New Zealand. She said she wouldn't run with the bulls, but she bungee jumped off the Pickett bungee jump, the highest, or not the highest, the original bungee jump. Yeah, I won't bungee jump. If you follow me, you know I'm afraid of heights. So I went to the side of the ravine and then stood at the railing and took pictures, and that was about as scary as I got. that was my yeah. I considered that the fact that I stood there and made a video of her at the edge of the ravine next to like a steel railing that prevents anybody from falling over. That's the extent of my.
Hey, Brixton says they want to get you signed up for 24.
Oh, Brixton wants me. Oh, for the cards? Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. You're definitely gonna want me. You're definitely gonna want me on the Brixton cards for 2024 because I'm gonna crush the tour this year, everybody. I'm gonna be on the. Well, I've announced I'm gonna be on the 2024 Pro Tour again. I shot 1028 rating. In Europe last year, which is insane. And I brought my overall rating up to 1,017, which means that I am firmly right at the cash line of the Pro Tour, right? Certainly not at the top, but definitely not I'm out there for some token gesture. I'll be at least in the middle of the pack, which means I belong out there. I don't even like standing up. Is that what you're laughing at?
Yeah.
No, it's pretty funny.
I'm usually able to contain it now.
Yeah, you can. What? Oh yeah, I don't like standing up because I'm afraid of heights. Yeah, it's true. I went to the top of the Stratosphere Tower, which like okay, I know it's like it's like a building / structure that's not supposed to be scary. You guys have no idea. That was a really big deal for me. I wouldn't have done it a year ago. You agree?
No, you wouldn't.
A year ago, I wouldn't have done it.
You wouldn't have done those hikes at Zion.
I wouldn't have done the hikes at Zion Canyon either on the cliff edges. And it's like, so I'm trying really hard to get past this fear of heights. I'm 54 freaking years old. I'm not supposed to be scared of heights anymore, but I am.
Where in Spain did Wookie live?
So Wookie, where in Spain did you live?
He says she can jump and then you can run and then we can throw at each other.
Yeah, we can throw tomatoes at each other. That's right. Okay. Terry says, does my fear of heights express itself as a psychological fear work as a numbing of the body parts in question? No. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not actually afraid of heights. It's not about like that I think I'm going to fall. It's like I hate flying. I'm terrified of flying, but I'm not actually afraid of flying. All right? It's like, how do I describe this? Like, if I was driving to the airport and you could knock me unconscious at the airport and wake me up at the other airport, I wouldn't have anxiety on the drive to the airport because I'm afraid of flying. I know it's safe. I'm not worried about that. It is an involuntary reaction, basically like a panic attack when there's heights. And it's like, I mean, the chemical reaction, I think, is your brain just shits out a bunch of cortisol, which is this horrible feeling, and it's anxiety and fear and panic, and it's involuntary. But I'm not actually afraid of the heights. It's just this, just like panic attack comes over me. Like it's
palm sweat.
My palms. Oh my palms start sweating, and then I get dizzy, and like it's terrible. It's so stupid. I'm not afraid of anything else. Like I'm not afraid of like muggers in bad parts of town. Like people don't scare me. I'm not afraid of.
You even want to do the shark tank?
No, I would dive with. I like scuba diving. I would dive with sharks without a tank. If it was relatively safe area, I would dive with sharks, not a problem. Like God, I'm not afraid of other stuff except for heights. Okay, so the question is, a manifestation's physical. There don't have fear of heights, but my body rejects dealing with heights. So basically, that's what it is. My body rejects dealing with it because I have this involuntary reaction, which is basically a panic attack. Yeah, I can't do anything if the plane malfunctions, but it's not. I'm not afraid of the plane malfunctioning. I know it's safe. Um, I have not tried hypnosis, but I try Xanaxnosis.
And that works. Yeah.
Xanaxnosis. Yeah, I don't drink or do drugs. This right here is coffee. If I get close enough, you can see that it's brown. This is not brandy. It just happens to the only cups at the hotel. They forgot our plastic cups, and this is the ice cups. But it's I don't drink or do drugs except when I fly. I take Xanax when I fly. I knock my ass out. I wake up mid-flight, and then I kind of just coast into the destination.
Home pilots. I don't. I like to say I'm not afraid of heights. I just have a massive respect for gravity.
I have a massive respect for gravity. It's so horrible. But so here's the weird thing about like phobias and involuntary fears. Everybody, if you're afraid of something, you could probably relate to this. But my brain is wired to be afraid of some things and not others. So like I snowboarded. I had a snowboard. I had to pass for 8 seasons in Colorado. I would ride any chairlift on the windiest day over any ravine in Colorado, and my brain didn't connect that that's scary. Like it's snowboarding. It's like you ride the lifts, not a big deal. So my brain doesn't get scared every time. It's just when it does it.
Dave Brett82 on Instagram says, "Are you going to swing through Ohio?"
I will be. Let's see. I'm in Ohio. I'll be in. Yeah, I'll be at. What's the one in Cincinnati? Idlewild. Yeah, I'll be around. I'll be doing lots of appearances, pro shop appearances, clinics, and everything. I have to pay for this dirty habit of traveling around the world playing frisbee. No trust fund, unfortunately. Unless anybody has a trust fund out there for me, would like. In fact, if anybody has a trust fund for me, if you need someone to send your trust fund to, don't send it to your rotten kids. They don't appreciate you. Send it to me. But until that happens, I still work. So I'll be doing clinics and seminars and running my online store. So yeah.
Are we going to do clinic at the preserve in front of?
No, during the preserve. I think we're going to be up canoeing the boundary waters. I think that's why. I think the reason we're not going to the preserve is because we're going to be in that part of the country, and we haven't done the boundary waters yet.
Well, we tried twice already.
Yeah. So one of the things I love to do, if any of you haven't done this, like please stick this on your list of something to do. It's backcountry camping. So it's camping, but it's not at a campground. There's no RVs. There's nobody, starting fires and getting drunk. It's like backcountry camping. You put on a backpack and you hike into the wilderness. It could be the mountains. We love deserts, hiking in the backcountry. Basically, you get away from all the people. You find a flat piece of ground. Sometimes there's areas where people have camped before that you kind of go, oh, I can see people have been there before. But a lot of times you just have to find the ground and clear a space and put a tent up. And you're actually in the wilderness. And you could be literally like 3 miles from the road. And you might as well be on the moon. You're like, you won't see another person for days. And it's like, I think it's the most healthy mental thing that I do in my entire life. So one of the things I've never done is the boundary waters in Minnesota, which is there's like 1,000 lakes up there. But the way the ground is, it's so marshy and everything, they can't build roads on it. It's like impossible. There's no motorboats, there's no channels connecting these lakes. So the only way to get out on these lakes is with a canoe, or I guess maybe a kayak. And you basically canoe across the lake, and then you get out and carry your canoe 10 feet or, 1/8 of a mile, whatever distance to the next lake. You put it in, you canoe across the lake, but you disappear into the wilderness. And if anybody has done the boundary waters, feel free to post. Yeah, in the bush in New Zealand. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, like I'm telling you, I didn't do it until like 15 years ago. Was it 15 years? Yeah, probably 15, 20 years ago. I was probably like 35, and I wish I'd started younger. Like the first time you go out in the wilderness, it's actually scary. Even if you know that you're up in the mountains where there's no predators or nothing, like it's like it's way safer than being like in the city. Except it's so unnerving because you just feel so exposed, like at night, because you're in a tent. You're just a piece of fabric between you and the rest of the world. There's no people. It's wild, but it's so good for you. I swear by it. I have to do it a few times a year minimum. I like to do a lot more than that, but minimum a few times a year in the backcountry. Yeah, you live on a lake. Yeah, beautiful, Rock. By the way, hello, Rock. Hey, Scott, it's Bobby from LC La Cañada. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, Bobby? This is one of my friends who knew me like years ago when I was 15 and he was 13 or something, maybe, I think. And he grew up across the street from me. And hey, I'll tell you all a funny story. I hope you don't mind me sharing it, Bobby, because we both got our asses whooped by our folks for this one. But one night we were sitting in my house. I guess I was probably 17 then. I think Bobby was like 15. And I was like, I want to go to the card club and go to the casino. And I had a fake ID that said I was 21, so I could go to the card club. And I told him, oh, you can come with me and you could probably get in, whatever. They probably wouldn't have let us in. But the only way that we could, I had to like take my mom's car without permission, but I was afraid she would hear it start up in front of the house. So me and Bobby's staying the night at my house. We go outside. We get in the car and we just put it in neutral and we push it a few houses down so she won't hear it start. Well, apparently somebody thought we were people trying to steal someone's car, because we got in the car, we started up, we drove like 2 miles, we pull into the gas station to get gas, and next thing you know, we were surrounded by cops with guns pointed at us. Get out of the car! They thought we stole the car. It was just my mom's car, except that they assumed we were car thieves. Yeah, then the police had to come home and wake up our mom at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and just normal stuff. If you didn't do shit like this when you were a kid, you were missing out. This is like the most harmless fun in the entire world, don't you think? I mean, I remember playing Dungeons and Dragons, but that was nowhere near as exciting as having a bunch of cops pointing guns at you and making you hit the ground.
Every time I sat in the car with people, I got in trouble. Always got in trouble.
With other people?
Yeah.
That's because you hung out with these degenerates. What do you expect is going to happen?
Yeah. One time I was with my cousin, and the gear shift got bumped, and we rolled into the ditch across the street.
That's nowhere near as exciting as having a bunch of sheriffs point guns at you. Anyways, what's up, Jeff Duvall? That is kind of exciting. Let's see. You were in the southern part of, it's in the southern part of Spain where you run with the bulls. Yeah, I just decided, go look it up. What time of year is it? Can we bring a cameraman with us?
I don't know what kind of insurance policy I have to take that.
You don't need to. No, the cameraman's not going to do it. He needs to film.
His family will kill us. And if he gets killed.
No, his family's not going to. We'll take out insurance on the cameraman. That way we cash in if he gets gored to death. Any more people up there? Pickle Media, hate your name still. It has anybody here? Yes, parents. Kids don't need to steal their parents' car anymore because of Uber and Lyft. I know, right? I'm not coming to the Memorial Championship in Phoenix. Has anybody here ever run with the Bulls? I just decided 7 minutes ago that I'm going to run with the Bulls. Not this year. It got to be next year.
No.
Just see what time of year it is. The other thing I'm going to do, everybody thinks I'm joking. I'm so not joking. When I turn 60, I'm going to ski jump. When I ski jump, but I don't mean like a little ski jump, like off a jump. I'm going to ski jump, an Olympic-sized ski jump, because I was driving through Norway last summer, and there's all these training centers and all these gigantic Nordic ski jumps, the thrill of victory, agony of defeat ski jumps. And I was looking at those and I'm like, I have to do this.
It's in July. It's
in July, middle of the summer?
Yeah.
Nah, what's the worst that can happen? I get murdered by bulls. The season would be, that's a good excuse to miss the season. I was gored by a bull. I don't know. I'm in. Count me in. Do I play casual rounds in between tour stops? Basically, no. So I have right now, especially at my age, like I'm in really good shape. I can train, and I train super hard, like 4 days a week in the gym and eat good and all that stuff. But even so, I have a ceiling on how many throws I can do and how many practice shots. Like I just have a like I can't practice as much as I physically want to. Um, so I have to really focus all my throws. Like I can't I can't waste them on like recreational rounds of golf. I either need to be on the course where I'm going to be competing in the tournament, or I need to be working on drills and working on shots. Like I have to do all this just trying to be like a top 50 player, which is like I'm sitting outside. I think, well, I was only at six tour events last year because I was in Europe, but my rating 1017 probably puts me in 60th maybe. I shot 1028 for the summer, which maybe puts me at the cusp of top 40. So I would say I'm top 50 player. Like I have to work so hard just to be like top 50. Any slacking I do, just like playing casual rounds, is like I'm not good enough to like not do that stuff perfectly.
Captain Don Dos Rios one on Instagram. Say hi and want to know when you're going to go back to Houston.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to be in Houston this year. I'm going to be playing the Texas State Championships. And I don't want to spoil it. So if any of you are friends with any of the guys on tour, please don't tell them this. But I'm going to win Texas States this year. But don't tell them now. I don't want to like ruin it for everybody. You know, I don't want like all the players that are, you know, they have high hopes that they might win. So don't let any of them know. But I'm kind of going to win Texas States. Let's see. Someone just says that my audience is smarter than me because they don't run with the bulls. If nobody's ever run with the bulls, the audience is clearly smarter than the host, and confirmed by your ski jumps. You know what? I'm going to ski jump. I don't. Okay, so this is one of these things, and there's an argument why what I'm about to say is stupid, but you can also make an argument why it's not. So I'll tell you a story. So when I first met Adriana, it was just 4 years ago, like 4 years and like a week ago. I met her and she was going to be going on tour, and this is right before COVID. Or I just met her and we started talking. Oh, we hit it off, and maybe you could travel with me. And I go, look, there's one of the things that you need to know about me before we go on tour that you're going to have to deal with. And she says, what? And then I showed her a picture of me with my shirt off from behind, with a very well-defined outline of a steel chair across my back. Like you could see, it was a steel chair on my back. And she's like, what is that? And I go, I kind of pro wrestle. And, you know, I'm kind of 50 years old, but I still let him hit me with steel chairs. And like, I know it's kind of dumb to be doing things like that when you're older, but hear me out. I don't not do anything because of my age. Unless I physically can't do it. I can't climb Kilimanjaro. There's physical limitations, but if it's not physical, if it's just mental, I won't not do anything because of my age, because my fear is that once I start ruling things out because of my age, then it'll become a habit of ruling things out because of my age. So things like running with the bulls, like I would do that when I was 25. So why the hell wouldn't I do it now? If I can physically do it, and I'll take the consequences. I would rather take the consequences. I would rather get gored and I don't want to get killed, but I'd rather get gored and get stitches than not do it because I'm too old. I would choose the stitches. No one under 45 knows the thrill of victory. I'm glad you got the reference. The thrill. I actually just watched that. Well, I watched that because I was driving through Norway and saw the ski jumps, and I had to show Adriana because she's under 45. So the reference he's making is Wide World of Sports. Back when there were 3 TV channels aside from your local affiliate, and sports were basically like NBA, NFL, golf on Sunday mornings, Wimbledon, right? A couple major sports. Like you didn't you couldn't watch sports other than a couple major sports that they force fed you. Except every Saturday there was a show on called Wide World of Sports. and Wide World of Sports covered other sports. So there might be there might be gymnastics, and then it might, be the Harlem Globetrotters, and it might be a ping pong tournament, right? But it's the only time there was no internet. It's the only time you could watch this. And on the intro, they talk about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And on the agony of defeat video, it shows a guy going down the ski ramp to do the ski jump. And as he's going down, he eats shit before he takes the jump. He falls on the way down, going down the ramp like a professional ski jumper. I shouldn't laugh. It'll probably happen to me. But yeah, they called that the agony of defeat.
When you're learning.
I don't care. I've looked into it. Here's how you learn to ski jump. It's really easy. You do small jumps, and then when they think you're good enough, you do bigger jumps, and then bigger jumps, and there's progressively larger jumps. You don't just go out and do it. I'm not freaked out at ski jumping at all. Well, I snowboarded for 8 years. I mean, I'm not afraid of the side of a mountain. We will turn 60 years. You'll do it also. Let's do it. Oh my God, let's start at 60. Like, oh my God, if we got I guarantee if there's 5 of us who ski jump at age 60, guaranteed one of us breaks a hip. Guaranteed. Because I figured my odds are about 20%.
Maybe we can get a group discount on the rate.
Maybe we get a group discount on the insurance policy.
Yeah.
So you can run with the bulls and go to Lucanberry Disc Golf De La Course and get around and write it off as work-related expense. Oh yeah, I can't wait to golf in Spain. I'm trying to solve this damn visa issue because I can only, this year I'm in the US because of reasons, but I plan on doing a lot of the European tour, and we couldn't go to Spain because our visa ran out last year, or else we would have been in Spain in October. Actually, so I don't know if we would have been in Spain. We actually. So I am, for those of you who follow me, I am a financial planner's worst nightmare. Because for instance, I give away all my prize money. Like my very last tournament over in Europe, I was like owing $2,000, and I sent it to Disc Golf Philippines. And like a week later, we were in the UK. We're like, our visa's expiring. We got to go back to the US. I'm like, all right, book us a plane ticket. And Adriana tries to book us a plane ticket. She's like, we don't have enough for a plane ticket back to the US.
I wasn't planning on it.
I know, but if we had gone to Spain, we were in bad shape. We would have had no money. Yeah, I'm not good. I'm not good with money.
No, it's the timing though for like that big chunk.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, we ran out of money in Europe. Came back. So what we did is, all I did is when I came to get back to the US, I was like, well, shit, I'll book a whole bunch of clinics all over the north. So I very quickly went on and booked a bunch of clinics that people signed up for. We bought our plane ticket and flew back and did the clinics. Like, to me, that makes perfect sense. But if I had a financial planner, they would be rolling over in their grave, even if they were alive. Will I try for political office someday? No, I hate politics. So here's the thing about politics is that, and this is the most political you're ever going to hear me be, is that I would never put myself in a position where there are decisions where there's not a decision I can make that won't result in half the people hating me. Like I don't envy anybody with that job. Like, oh, no matter how much you believe and stick to your convictions, half the people out there are going to think you're the devil. Like, I don't want that. I mean, every year, like for the PDJ write-in, I get like the most or almost the most amount of write-in votes for PDJ board members. I never want to be on the PDJ board. I've never expressed interest, but people, and I'm flattered by this, but they write my name in. I'm in the write-in section, so I get a lot of write-in votes for PDJ board member. But I would never take a job where, like, whatever decision I make, people are going to hate me. Like, I don't envy anybody that has that job. Thank God they're all sociopathic scumbags in Washington. So they don't care. It doesn't affect them if people hate them. There, made my statement. I'm sticking to it. Thanks for being inspiration to me and thousands of others. You are so welcome. I appreciate that. I try really hard, but not to be an inspiration, but just try to be me. And I do my best, man. I've failed as much as I've succeeded at life. Scott, what do you think about the sports thing? I have a friend who 30 years was involved in that and was involved with that and was part of arena sports and had been deeply involved in the faking they were doing. Wait, Scott, what do you think about the sports thing? I have a friend who for 30 years was involved with that and was part of arena sports and had to have been deeply involved in faking what they were doing. Terry, I think there's a typo in here somewhere. I'm not understanding. I love you, Terry. Please, I want to respond to your question, but just I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Sports Illustrated.
Oh, is it Sports Illustrated?
Yeah.
But he was faking?
Mhm.
Faking what? What were they faking? Sports Illustrated putting in fake articles by fake authors. Oh, like just recently they were doing this?
I think it was AI.
Oh, AI?
Yeah.
Oh boy, you want to hear me go on a rant about AI?
Hey, sit a little taller.
Okay. Okay. So as far as Sports Illustrated fake articles by fake authors, great, good for them. That's what they should be doing as a business. So here's the thing about AI. Everybody who's over here debating whether or not AI is a good thing, or whether or not it's a positive or negative, or whether or not this should be allowed or that should be allowed, or whether or not it hurts these people's jobs, all those people that are busy wondering those questions are going to get fucked because they're over here doing that instead of just accepting the fact that it's here, it ain't going nowhere, and you either need to be on the winning side or not. And so, like with any of those things, it's like, yeah, you have to. If you're not taking advantage of this thing that's there, your competition will. The free market will knock you out of business if you're in an industry where AI can do things. So, like, I don't know like any details about Sports Illustrated putting up fake articles by fake authors, but if they were doing it, well, if they don't do it, there's going to be this company over here that's going to post 5,000 articles and publish all 5,000 articles about one sporting event for every one that a human writes over at Sports Illustrated, and Sports Illustrated is going out of business because they'll just be dwarfed 5,000 to 1 by this one company. I told you I was going to go off on a rant, but either you embrace it and use it, or you're done. We use it. We use AI for the stuff we're doing, for all the different promotions and marketing and writing. Like, if you don't, you're crazy. So my take on it is, it's like you just got to accept it.
Lance Regular.
That's it.
AI is going to outthrow you.
No, it's not. No, that's one of my only. This is like, knock on wood. This is not. This is crossing fingers. I got the wrong metaphor. There, that's knocking on wood. I was like, knock on wood. So fortunately, maybe I'm in a position with teaching and who I am, where maybe I can dodge the AI bull a little bit longer. But yeah, no, it's, what are you gonna do? I mean, you could stand tall and not use AI, and then that's not going to do you a damn bit of good in 2 years when your company's out of business because your competitors are using it. It's almost like, here's what it's like. Like, I'm going to make a comparison here. Please, this is not a political thing. Don't misunderstand this. But it's kind of like, oh, my company uses overseas developers 15 years ago. Well, you could sit there and say, well, I'm keeping our jobs here in America, and so what if it costs 5 times as much for the same quality of work? Well, yeah, but then your competitor is building their company 5 times as fast as you, and the people that aren't doing it are dead in the water. So it's I think it's kind of the same idea. Those 5,000 articles are already being generated every day. Yeah, like I said, the world is just changing. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. Like, you either have to just either try to get on this, either side that's doing it, or, you know, like, I don't know what else you're gonna do. Like, the world is changing, you know, and you know, you can sit there and, like, I think almost anybody that just spends their time having I'm not saying you, I'm saying anybody that is having a problem with what's happening, is going to get passed by people that are like, oh, this thing's cool, let's use it. You need to do ski. I think you should do ski jumping. That way you can do more wheelchair disc golf. No, I shouldn't laugh, but it's probably true. Do I ever come to North Florida, specifically Gainesville or Jacksonville? I have many times. I don't think I'm going to this year because I'm not going to chess.com tournament. I'm starting in Waco. Boy, I probably lost everybody during that AI rant. If you left during the AI rant, AI can't replace throwing a person standing in front of you helping you throw golf discs, maybe, or at least it'll be a couple years.
I'm gonna train one to talk like you.
You're gonna train one to talk like me?
Yeah.
Good. Do it.
Yeah, I need to. I mean, you're gonna jump stuff.
Hey, look, I'll tell you all a creepy story, okay, about AI. And this is gonna creep you out. I mean, it's amazing. Creepy is not the right word. I'm like blown away and amazed by it. But I needed to write 3 articles on the Stokely disc golf method, right? Like this method of teaching, it's not a different method of throwing, but it's a different process by which I teach. But it's a very specific process that I teach the game, and it's different, and I call it the Stokely method. I had to write 3 articles about what the Stokely disc golf method is. One of them was for my website, written by me, about the method, and 2 of them were 2 additional sources that wanted an article submitted that was written about me. But they wanted me to write it. Okay. So we asked AI to write the articles, right? And the idea is that it's time reasons, boom, a couple nanoseconds, you have something, then you can just modify it, but you already have this basic thing written. Like if you don't do it, you're going to spend all weekend instead of 5 minutes. So anyways, we tell it to write these 3 articles. Now we don't tell it anything about the Stokely disc golf method. We just give it information that already exists, that I've already spoken or written about what the method is, and tell it to figure out what the method is and write it. So we say to write it. 1 article, first person, written by me, 2 articles written about me. Here's how many words, and they need to be different. Click, done. Okay, by the time your finger leaves the key, it's already written those 3 articles. All 3 articles, totally different. All 3 articles are very accurate. They're all very good. Not only that, is that even the tone and context by which the articles are written aren't different than I write and speak, because it based the articles off me writing and speaking. So it uses my words, it uses my slang, my tonality. It's creepy, right? Well, here's the creepiest part. By the way, not creepy, it's amazing, but creepy. On the article that I wrote about the Stokely disc golf method, it wrote at one part, it's the article that the AI wrote said from me, ... you want to do ... Now, if you're struggling to understand how this works, don't get frustrated. I myself also struggled at this part. And I looked at the article and I stopped and I went, what the fuck? I never once, ever in any of my writing said I struggled at this part. The AI it came up with this idea that I struggled at this part because it wanted to make me relatable. So it wanted me, based on my writings, I guess I show empathy and self-assessment. It invented something that I didn't struggle with, claimed that I struggled with, so the reader would say, oh, I'm not frustrated now that I know you struggled with it too. So the AI tried to connect on a very emotional level with the reader from me. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing and terrifying, right? Mm-hmm. Like I literally stopped and I just lost my breath.
Are we doing Silmar? Did we do a clinic at Silmar?
No, we didn't do Silmar. We did Oak Grove and Simi Valley and Santa Clarita. Have I been into wrestling? I've heard about Vince McMahon lately. Yeah, none of the stuff coming out about Vince McMahon is new. Like this has been coming out about Vince for a while now. It's just, he pays people off and he's Vince McMahon. I think this one might stick though. I think he might not come back from this one. So yeah, I do follow. He's resigned before. Okay. He resigned before. Here's the thing about these things. We don't know. Like, are you resigning because that makes the stock prices go up, or are you resigning so the stock prices go down so you can buy more stock that you can sell when you come back to the company? Or like, who knows why they do the things they do? All right. Will I be in Louisville, Kentucky? I had 2 opportunities to meet you and missed both. The clinic and my buddy Donnie at Churchill Downs. Oh, my buddy at Churchill Downs, but I couldn't make it. No, I probably won't do a clinic in Louisville just because I did a clinic in Louisville. And then if I come back, 6 months later, a lot of the audience won't come back a second time. I will certainly, I'm sure I'll do one around Cincinnati before Idlewild. So if you look for it, it'll be at scottstokely.net, or if anybody wants to, go to scottstokely.net/Discord. That is the inner circle. That's where all the news comes out first. But I will be up there. I mean, I love Louisville. I love Churchill Downs. Hello. Everyone has that one hole of the course that seems to be your nemesis. Which one is yours and which course? None. I'm awesome at every hole and every. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. I tried to say that with a straight face. No, you know what my nemesis is? My nemesis is the God's honest truth. It's that 240-foot little slight hyzer through like a medium-sized gap shot that I still probably birdie 70% of the time, but top players will birdie at 95% of the time. It's those really easy holes that you're supposed to get that I get mostly, but the top players get like almost perfect. Those are the ones that kill me. Like the hard holes I do fine on. None of the ones are hard. I'll tell you the one that gave me the biggest panic attack. This is the one, and the one that's the most mentally challenging for me, and the reason I say this, it's the most mentally challenged, is that this is the hole that has kept me up at night. Like I couldn't sleep because I was having anxiety. If you follow Ledgestone, hole 1 at Eureka, that first hole over the water, where you got to get, it's like 390-foot water clear at its closest point. But where you're trying to land is about 450 feet above, about 450 feet water clear or something like that. But the wind can come off the water and blow in your face. And it's the first hole of the tournament, and there's no bailout zone. Like you have to, if you want to clear the water 390 feet, it becomes OB like not that far past. And when you're there, it's really hard to get to the hole. You're probably going to throw OB again or not get there. Either you throw OB or you're down the hill putting it OB. Like it's just one of these holes where, or even if you throw the shot, the safety shot, like the 450-foot water clear into the big landing area, well, it immediately goes downhill and there's OB at the bottom. So you could, like anybody in the field, like every player in on the pro tour has enough of an arm where you could throw OB long in that hole. So if you're just playing the hole safe, you can't really play it safe, and there's headwind, and it's the first hole of the damn tournament, and it's like, Jesus Christ, if I don't just thinking about that gives me stress. So it's not that it's my nemesis, but it's the one that gives me the most anxiety. Like I don't have anxiety over island holes or stuff like that. The island holes are always really, really easy. They're only hard if it gets in your head, but I don't get like nervous or stuff like that. Except for hole 1 at Eureka, because it's a hard shot. Most of the island holes are like 260 feet onto a big green. It's only mentally tough. They're not physically tough. Saw the Pulse advertisement and thought he did a good job of. Oh, they did a good job showing off in ads. Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, I love the Pulse guys. Was it Pulse? Pulse. I think there's like a trailing something on the name. But that's, yeah, Chemo, the Finnish team, but Pulse, they're fantastic. I love those guys. I got to know them so well. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of those. I mean, I'll be working with them in the future. Do I plan on visiting Eastern North Carolina this year? Maybe the Down East Players Cup in October. No plans for it. My whole schedule's posted, and I got everything scheduled through October. I think September.
Your schedule is posted through D-Glow because that's the end of the regular season.
End of the regular season to a D-Glow, and then if I qualify for USDGC, which I plan on, I think I should be able to qualify. So maybe a little bit longer. And then guess what? We're actually possibly, it's a really good chance. I'm going to be, my life is really weird. I never thought I'd utter this sentence before, but when the Disc Golf Pro Tour is over, I'll be going to Hungary to star in a movie. Is that the way? That's the right way to put it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just wrote me again today, and he wants to get back in a couple of weeks, but he says he's got a project for me, and I told him I'm not free till October. This Hungarian filmmaker, and he's like, I really want to work with you. Between you and me, what he's really saying is, oh wow, you have 150,000 followers in social media, and it's about to be a lot more. I really want to work with you. I think what he wants to work with is all my followers more than anything. But yeah, I'm going to be going to Hungary shooting a film in October is my plan.
We'll see what the script comes out like.
I don't care. Are you kidding me? You think I care what the script is? It could be the worst, most horrible, stupid script in the entire world.
No, we've got to get disc golf in there somewhere.
We got to get disc golf in the script.
Yeah.
No, wait a second. What if I get, oh my God, I just realized something. So what if I get cast in a movie and I'm paid to be in a movie? Okay, I'm about to say something controversial. Shoot me. By the way, whenever I say that to you, you get nervous, huh?
Don't say that.
Don't say controversial. Okay, like what if I'm in the script? Like this is like, and like I'm supposed to like kiss another guy. Because like I totally don't want to do that. Like I've never done that before. But if it's in a movie and I'm just acting, and I'm being paid enough money, $20 and $20. No, it's gonna cost more. I'll have to get a bonus for it. By the way, I say this because we saw a film at the film festival that was like that. Oh God, the two garbage men. Yeah. The guy, the filmmaker, the two garbage men in the background kissed, and it's like how do you get him to kiss? I'm the director. I made him kiss. So my thought was, wait a second. If I'm in a film, how much would I have to get paid? Like there's a dollar amount.
Yes, of course.
Right. I mean, I don't know where that number is. It's somewhere above $20 and under $1 billion. Anyways, but the point is, I'm going to Hungary to hopefully be in a movie in October. So, yeah, it's weird. If the destroyers were around, we set the world distance record. How far do you think you would have thrown it? That's a really good question because, yeah, the records I set were with speed 6 and speed 7 discs. All I can say is that miles per hour. As far as how fast I was throwing, nobody in the modern day throws faster than I was throwing back in those days. And that's easy to quantify. It's a radar gun, right? The people like David Wiggins, I mean, obviously Simon Lizotte. There's certainly some people out there. David Wiggins is probably the biggest crusher, but I mean, Simon and those guys they're in the ballpark. So when I say nobody threw farther, I'm not suggesting that I threw way farther than David Wiggins and Simon Lizotte. I'm just saying they didn't throw farther than me. We were in the kind of the same group as far as what the body can do. So my answer, I guess, would be similar to what they're throwing, except a little bit farther because it's me, because I believe in me. What strain before I tee off? That is so funny. Dude, I don't smoke. I've never, okay, like I've always been an outspoken advocate for the legalization of marijuana. I believe in people's freedom and liberty to make their own choices. I will never back down from a person's right to put whatever they want in their own body. It's appalling that there's laws to tell you what to do to your own body. It makes me sick. I'm not a big pot smoker. So even when I was smoking pot, which I haven't done in years, but even when I did smoke it, I would smoke it at night before I went to bed. Never when I competed. It's against the rules. That's God's honest truth. I keep thinking someone's going to challenge me on that one. I'm going to all right, polygraph. I'll put up 10 grand. You put up 2. I'll get on a polygraph. Ask me if I ever smoked weed at a PDJ tournament. The answer is no. But on a recreational level, because it's against the rules. To me, that's black and white. You don't get to choose which rules to follow, which ones not. There's rules. You don't get to say, oh, I don't think that rule applies to me. That's bullshit, in my opinion. But on a recreational level, I'm happy that we have a sport where everybody can pursue their own form of happiness. I've never seen anybody that smoked pot at a frisbee golf course or a bowling alley or before a jiu-jitsu class ever hurt anybody because of it. So freedom there. Maybe that's why I don't run for office.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't care. I support people's freedoms and liberties, not just because I do it. That's what people do. The people are such hypocrites. They're like, I believe in people's freedom of speech. Unless they want to say something I disagree with, then that's offensive. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, if either you believe in freedom or you don't. I don't remember me ever smoking pot. Yeah, thank you, Joe. Yeah, not at tournaments. In recreational, when I was younger, I used to during money rounds, and I was terrible. And then at night, I mean, I've always, like I said, I've always been like, there's been years of my life where I would smoke at night before I went to bed, but I think, oh, maybe I just aged out of it. It's like, I'm not anti it. It's just been years and it's just never been, it's kind of maybe lost its appeal. But you used to carry weed with you for those guys that say I play better when I'm high. If it's a cash game, I'm getting them loaded and taking their money. There's definitely people that perform better. So there were studies done. There have been studies about this.
That's strategy.
Yeah, that is good strategy. No, there have been studies like I haven't seen the studies in sports, but they've studied it when people taking like tests. And here's what they found: that people, when they they would do like randomized, double-blind, placebo control, whatever. They'd study this, and it turns out that when people smoke pot, they're worse at taking tests. They score worse on test scores. Okay, that kind of makes sense, right? However, one of the things they found was there were some people that when they got high while they studied and then were high during taking the test actually performed better than the control group that didn't. So there's actually some evidence that it actually was a performance enhancing at some basic level. I don't think it was a major amount. Certainly, like it wasn't automatically that you do this, you're better. But there were people that performed, and that's been my observation within the sport is that there are people that I think they play better that way, and if they do, that's unfair because it's against the rules. In jiu-jitsu, very common in jiu-jitsu. It's very much part of the culture, and there's people that say they get into a zone when they roll, and they feel like they're better when they do. So whatever it is, but if the rule says don't do it, it's not okay, in my opinion. Will I be around Tennessee, Virginia, the area this year by chance? Of course, or Charlotte. I'll be around all those places. I just don't know when. My schedule is posted, but I'm basically going to Texas and then up to Arkansas and then off to the West Coast and to Canada, then down through Iowa and to Kentucky, and then back up to Michigan, and then over to New York, and then in Hungary to star in a film where I get paid extra to kiss a guy, allegedly. It's like I feel so bad. It's 2024. Like that shouldn't freak me out. It's like it's 2024. No one cares, and I'm like, I'm old. I don't want to do it. Depends on what they pay. You're considering tent camping while playing for Beaver State Fling. What is the odds of staying dry in Oregon in May? You can't stay dry in Oregon in any month. So yeah, I would say, I don't know, get waterproof tents. I've backcountry camped so much in the rain, and I absolutely love the sound of the rain on my tent. It is so soothing. It's so relaxing. They're like I like it. So if you're in a tent, you'll stay dry. Make sure it's a good tent. Don't buy a tent from Walmart. Invest in a good tent, but you're good.
Disc Golf DeVito.
Oh, by the way, if you're on Instagram, this stream only goes for 1 hour before it cuts out. So if you're on Instagram and it cuts out in the next 6 minutes, come over to Facebook and I'll be there. YouTube. And what?
Hop over to YouTube.
Hop over to YouTube. Or
it says, you are a disc god. How do you deal with arm or elbow pain?
Well, I appreciate being called a disc god. It makes me really happy that you call me that, even if I choose to disagree. I don't have elbow pain. In my opinion, let me give just like a quick, okay, I'll just explain it like this. This is what the Stokely disc golf method's about. It's about everybody's body being different and finding the mechanics within your body. There's rules you must follow. You can't throw any way you want to, but mechanically, everybody's body has to move a little bit differently. So the basic idea is this. Think about a mechanical device. All right. You have a hinge, right? Maybe a moving part that moves this direction, right? Part of that moving part could be out here and it still moves back and forth. Part of the moving part could be out here moving back and forth. Okay, I think it's like a mechanical device, right? So this moving part can move out here, but when this is here or this is out here, in either of those cases, it's not calibrated correctly because it should be here. It's out here. When it's out here, it grinds, it wears, it heats up, there's friction, it catches, it pulls, it's not as strong. Right? That part moves out here, but it's wearing out this mechanical device. The reason that you calibrate mechanical devices, among other reasons, is that when you get them calibrated to where they're supposed to, that same thing moves the exact same direction without friction. It doesn't wear out. It doesn't break down. It's stronger. This part, when mechanical parts are calibrated correctly, they run almost forever, right? That's why you'll spend money to calibrate a machine, even though it's still running, it hasn't broken down, and you'll get it calibrated. So this is the way our bodies are. It's an analogy, but it's a way to visualize it. The way our bodies are is that all of our moving parts, like our wrist, elbow, shoulder, hips, knees, ankles, all of them have a range of motion that they can move in, but they also have a much more narrow range that they're supposed to move in. You need to throw so that each of your moving parts is in a position so that it's calibrated properly. And that calibration is going to be different for everybody. That's why, just as an example, you cannot say, put a fist under your chin and pull the disc under your fist. You can't say that. Not everybody's shoulders are different. They're aligned at different angles, different range of motion. Some people should throw from up here and some people should throw from down here. But everybody's correct if they're throwing in a position where their shoulder is calibrated correctly. That's basically what the Stokely method's about. And that's why I take my online class. Go to scottstokely.net to read about it and sign up. Go to Discord, scottstokely.net/Discord. But the process of finding the throw is following very strict rules for throwing. There's absolutely rules to follow, but then you must be allowed for your body to move within its own, where it's meant to move. So I think that's a testament to me. Like, I would say that on the Pro Tour this year, I throw farther than probably 50% of the pros out there backhand. I mean, nowadays, half the pros out there will throw backhands farther than me. But I still throw sidearms farther than just about everybody on tour, if not everybody on tour, but definitely nearly everybody on tour. And I got no injuries and no pain. I don't get sore.
One more question from Instagram.
So anyways, the point is that my body's I throw in a way where my individual body is calibrated correctly, and then it's low impact. Okay.
Have you ever played in Washington?
Of course. Yeah, I played. Let's see. Last time I played in Washington, I got beat at, what's that course where that guy beat me? I was so mad. Remember I went to sudden death and then I messed up hole one. I missed my putt.
That was in Washington?
Yeah, that was in Washington. No, that was in Washington. He beat me up there. MP50 player. I haven't lost many MP50 tournaments in my life, but he's a very good golfer in Washington. Beat me up there. But I've won tournaments up there too. Yeah, I love Washington. I love everywhere. I love everywhere. Everywhere we go. It's 59 minutes and 22 seconds. If you're on Instagram, it's about to cut you off. Come over to Facebook or YouTube if you're on Instagram. Last chance. Do I ever do any disc dog competitions? I don't. I used to train with a dog who was we were trying to set the world TRC record, which was, I throw the disc and then the dog takes off running. How far can the disc fly before the dog catches it? Very specific throw, because you have to throw a shot that turns over and then glides and then pans out and slows down. And the record was like 350 feet that the dog was going to catch. It starts running when it's at your side. So I've trained in that. We never did break the record though. That's the extent of my dog training. Me and dogs don't get along.
Yeah. Did it bite you?
No, it never bit me. It's like, God, I don't want to lose all my audience when I say this, but I'm not a dog person. I'm not like dogs. They just like, they jump on you and they scratch you and then oh my God, if you guys ever heard of this, maybe you have. If you're not a dog person, you might not know this, but dogs do this thing. I've heard. What's that thing called that dogs do with
with their eyes?
No, with their like barking. No, they bark. I think they call it barking. Yeah, have you ever heard dogs do this thing called bark? And like, if I was to ever own a dog, the first time it barked, I'd be like, "Nah, you had your shot," and I'd kick him out the front door. Like, why are you yelling at me in my own home? See, the fact that I think the dog barking is them yelling at me is why I'm not a dog person. But I love cats. I love cats. No, because when cats yell, it's adorable. Watch everybody just unsubscribe. Hey, I told you I defend other people's rights to own dogs. I'm just not a dog person. I don't dislike dogs. I dislike a lot of dog owners. I think a lot of dog owners are rude. But I'm a cat guy. Please don't get mad at me. I should never. Why would I do that? I'm like, that's so bad.
You just said earlier you didn't want to take opinions.
I don't want to take opinions. Yeah, okay, you're right. You know what? That's right. I forget. I got a disc company. I sell classes. I want people to come to my clinics. I love dogs and cats equally. I love them all. In fact, the only thing I love more than dogs and cats are your children. Your kids are the best. Can you please bring them over to my Super Bowl party, even though there's nothing but adults there? I know your kids are different. I know they're going to be, I know they keep coming into the living room and interrupting every 2 minutes in the middle of the game while adults are trying to have fun and nobody can relax and say the things they're actually thinking because they're afraid of using swear words that are going to offend the parents of your children. But I don't care. Your kids are the best. Bring them by the party. Yay, kids, dogs, and cats. Is that better?
Yeah. Do
you think they're buying it?
That was very equal.
That was very equal. Okay. I love your kids and dogs and cats.
Okay, read the poem.
Read the what?
The poem.
Is this in a world of discs?
Read it.
In a world of discs and fairway greens, Scott Stokely's heart, a cornfield dream. Amidst the putt and frisbee fun, his sweetest joy under the sun. Through the baskets and the wooden glades, he caddies corn in love cascades. A desert of kernels, a golden a desert of kernels, a golden delight. In Stokely's world, pure joy takes flight. A poem written by ChatGPT.
You like the corn kernels in your dessert?
Oh yeah, because we go over to Asia and they put corn in dessert. I've only gotten mad like 3 times in the last 10 years. Like I don't really get mad a whole lot. And when I was in Asia, and the first time I ordered ice cream and there was corn in it, that was as close to like I don't think I've ever been that mad, that like angry over anything in my entire life. I mean, that was like when they put, like, how do I compare it? When they put corn in my ice cream, it was kind of like how I felt on 9/11. Please don't clip that and put that in the internet. I shouldn't say that, should I? Mm-hmm. I take that back. Don't get mad at me, internet, please. No. Wait a second. When they put corn on my ice cream, it's like how I felt on 9/11, that time that they put corn in my Fruity Pebbles. Like putting corn in sweet stuff I get equally mad every time. Did I get out of it? Okay, was that better? Yeah, no, that's why it's really funny. So ChatGPT, here's the thing about ChatGPT, which, by the way, if you haven't played with it, it's really fun, but you have to train it and learn. I had it because my autobiography is out, Scott Stokely, Growing Up Disc Golf, available at Amazon and Audible. And my autobiography ends in 2001. I asked ChatGPT, I go, write another chapter of my book, 1,200 pages, or 1,200 words, like 5 pages. Write the next chapter of my book. And it did. In my words, without me telling it what happened next. It just knew It just wrote the next chapter of my book in my own words.
And it did a good job.
Oh, it did a really good job. Hey, what's up, John Putney? He joined my YouTube channel. Thank you, John Putney.
You get access to special channels.
You get access to special channels on my Discord server because you joined my YouTube channel. Thank you. Yeah, by the way, I'm still pissed off about the corn they put in my ice cream last year. God, that's the worst thing ever. Corn and ice cream definitely is like 9/11. No, it's just like that day, that time on September 11th where you ordered Fruity Pebbles and they put corn in it. Don't compare. Who just posted the thing where they compared a national tragedy to corn and ice cream? That's so disrespectful. I would never do that. I was talking about when they put corn in my Fruity Pebbles. How corn and ice cream would taste, I don't know, but they put corn and red beans in ice cream. Oh my God, here's the worst. Where was it where they wouldn't put sweet? Was that, where did they not put the sweet stuff in the ice cream? Is that Cambodia?
No, that was Malaysia. Yeah,
they were playing. Oh my God. Okay, so if you guys follow me, you know this. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I have a huge problem with ice cream, and like I tried not eating ice cream because I'm trying to get in perfect shape, and eventually I had to just say, okay, I'm the guy that goes to the ice cream place and gets the kid size one little scoop. But I gotta eat ice cream. I can't not have ice cream. So I'm kind of like pretty peculiar, not peculiar, particular about it. So, anyways, we're in Asia. There are places in Asia where you can get ice cream, like chocolate ice cream, where it's just like American ice cream. It's milk, it's ice, and it's cream, and it's chocolate, and that's it. No sugar. You know how like cooking chocolate tastes without sugar, how it kind of tastes like garbage without sugar? Yeah, they have chocolate ice cream that's not sweet. And I don't mean like it's not as sweet as American ice cream. I mean it's not sweet. It's just frozen milk with with
cocoa powder,
with cooking chocolate in it, no sweet. And I'm just like, by the way, you can't get mad. It's like that's what they eat in that part of the world, right? Okay, that's I'm just like, look, I'm not one of those guys. Like I'm not Mr. Like I don't love him. Like I'm not Mr. Patriotic, but I also don't hate America. I just I try to be objective about things and just have a real opinion about things, what America's good at and what it's not good at. One of the things America is the best in the world at is ice cream. Everywhere we go in the world, it's like America crushes ice cream better than any other country. Now, there are places in Asia that have more exotic, interesting, cool desserts. But as far as ice cream, USA. Am I going to be doing some Masters events or possibly some other tournaments besides the DGPT? Yeah, I'm going to be playing other tournaments, but I'm going to play open. Look, as long as I'm still shooting as long as I'm shooting in the 10-20s in the open division, then I'm an open player. I went out for 2 years before the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and I was playing. I'm mostly MP40 tournaments when I was like 52. So I was even playing down a division in the MP40, and I toured for 2 years playing tournaments. And I didn't practice. I wasn't training. I was going to courses playing them blind. And I won, I think, exactly 70% of the tournaments I played in. And it's like, I wasn't even motivated to go practice, or else I could have probably done, obviously would have done even better. Like, that wasn't fun for me. And let me rephrase that. I'm going to sound like an asshole. Please let me take that back. Of course, it was fun. I was playing disc golf as my job. Of course, that's really fun. And of course, I love the people I'm playing with, and they're all my friends. And a lot of them are old friends from back, 30 years and 40 years. That part was fun, but the competitive part of me, it wasn't. It didn't do anything for I was just out playing recreational golf with my friends, and at the end, they handed me a trophy. I went, oh, okay. Like it didn't get that thing going, the competitive part of me going. When I go out, like the last 2 years playing in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, I haven't won any tournaments on the Disc Golf Pro Tour in the last 2 years, but I got 2 fifth places and a third on the Europe, but there was a DGPT event. I finished 20th at an Elite Series event. I had a couple top 10s at A tiers. I had 11th place at a Silver Series. All of those did more for my dopamine and like that feel good than winning the other tournaments. Like cashing at an Elite Series event, finishing like top 40 at Dynamic Discs Open, like that gave me more of that rush that I'm looking for when I compete than any MP40 tournament I've ever played. It just did. Even though I finished like 37th, but it's like I beat Paul McBeth. Like, oh my God, I can still beat Paul McBeth on a given weekend, like that, and I even, like, when I say this, it makes me sound like I'm not shitting on anybody else playing in their division and having success there, and I'm not trying to downplay that. I'm just speaking for me, like what does it for me, and you know, I want to play against the best in the world, and if they beat me, I'm cool with it. But at least I'm trying to beat the best. That's just me. Trip to Ontario, Canada coming. Hey, what's up, Greg? Speaking of my old friends from like 93, 03, 13, 30 years ago, I was on tour. Greg was one of the very first people ever on tour back in the early 90s with Jeff Malton and me. Good to hear from you, Greg. I don't think I have any plans to Ontario. I'm going to go to British Columbia for the first time to compete after the Beaver State Fling. But so that's Canada, but it's like 4,000 miles away. So it's kind of not the same place, but it's still Canada though. Please tell me Ken Drew has talked you into playing at Victoria Park when you come to Michigan again. Is that Victory Park? Is that where he is at his home course? If we're in the area, I'm sure I'm not. I will occasionally play around here or around there when I'm traveling. I just don't make a habit of it. If there's a reason to play, like I played around at disc golf at Oak Grove Park today. It's the world's first disc golf course. I shot around with PDGA number 003. So the third person in the Professional Disc Golf Association. I got to play around with Dan Roddick today. Of course, like that's a very special occasion. I'm not gonna do it to make a point or something, but there was a reason for it. West Kentucky, love to you, Scott. Thank you, sir. I love West Kentucky, like Paducah. What do you feel your biggest challenge this year out playing tourneys? The biggest challenge, I'm playing really good golf. How do I put this bluntly without getting demonetized on YouTube? I'm going to take a shot anyways. Risking demonetization by telling you what the biggest challenge is on the Pro Tour. You know what the biggest challenge is out there? All these kids are fucking good. It's really annoying. They are so good. The level of play is so high. Like, if I finish 40th at a tournament, I will beat players that when I watch, I'm just like, holy crap, how did I beat those players? They're so good. So I would say the biggest challenge is the fact that everybody's so damn good. I mean, there's so many. Like the worst, like on the Pro Tour this year, the worst players in the tournament, barring like a couple exceptions, sponsored exceptions, the worst players in the field. I mean, we're talking the DNF worst players in the field are going to be like 1,010 rated. Like 1,010 rated. Like in the 90s, there was like 3 players 1,010 rated, like in the, and now that's like good for last place. Yeah, it's unreal. So that's my problem. And if it sounds like I'm a grumpy old man who resents the youth, yep, that about sums it up. I hate them for their youth. The Portland Open and Beaver State Fling. Let me know who you need me to distract. John, I love you, John. Here's who I need to distract. Everybody. Like I'm telling you, the worst player in the tournament, like the worst player at a Disc Golf Pro tournament event is capable of shooting 1050 over 3 rounds. It's so stupid. So if you wouldn't mind, just distract all of them, except for me. That would help. They're still so good. For Vancouver, British Columbia, film it if I do a safari round at Stanley Park. I will be filming everything. If for those of you who haven't heard, I bet a lot of you have, but I have a camera person following me, or not following me, traveling with us for the next 8 months, documenting every single part of the pro tour. So this is the exciting thing. I tried doing this 2 years ago. I said I want to take everybody with me, and I made videos of training, and I would report when I went to the hospital when I was sick, and switching out putters. Like, I did my best to kind of like take you along with me, but at tournaments it was tough. I might go shoot 5 minutes at the players party, but I mean, I'm practicing, I'm training. Everything I shoot has to take time to do video editing. So I did a lot of before and after like summary videos because I could just turn on my phone and do those. This year, the person traveling with us is going to be filming everything. So the idea is I want to bring all of you on tour with me. So what that means is, hey, this is what it looks like when you pull into the park. This is what it looks like when you register and you check in. This is what it looks like inside the players tent after the round where you're signing scorecards. He has a full media pass and all the things, whatever the Pro Tour allows him to do, he'll be there filming. This is what it looks like behind the ropes in the practice areas. And then, of course, every interaction I have with all the other pros, like, hey, what's up, Cannon? What's up? Hey, Alden. Hey, Kristen, good win last 8 weekends. And
Accurate.
yeah, I don't know. There's the women's field's getting deeper. I think Kristen's the best in the world, but she's going to have a harder time this year. There's so many good women out there now. But so the idea is that he's there basically going to take you on all of it: practice rounds, tournaments, players parties. But not only that, hey, you guys want to go play pinball on Monday night? Hey, Kevin Jones and James Conrad, you going rock climbing on Tuesday? Can I join you? Cool, we'll film the rock climbing. So the idea is I really, really, really want to bring everybody along on the tour with me, every part of the process. And I'm so excited about this because I wanted to do it 2 years ago. It was so important to me to try to give everybody that experience. And I'm okay with it, but it was not anywhere near as good as I wanted it to be. Now I'm paying someone to make sure it's great. So I can't wait to take you all with me. All are gonna have so much fun. Just to see what it's like on tour. The whole, and by the way, that's going to include practicing and training and all the other parts too. It's going to include everything. It's kind of cool. Did I have any interaction with Ed Hedrick? Of course. Yeah. So here's the thing you got to understand about back in the old days. Like, I tell people, like, oh, I knew Ed Hedrick pretty well. And they're like, no way, you knew Ed? And it's like, we all did. Because the sport was so small. Everybody knew Ed. Everybody that played was basically playing in tournaments. And if you played in tournaments, everybody who played tournaments showed up to the tournament. And that was 74 people in town on a good tournament. So, like, I knew Ed really well. I mean, I stayed with Ed when we were up in California, and like, I don't know, we didn't have a phone book. I'm sure I knew his phone number at the time. But we all did. We all knew Ed. So yeah, Ed was an interesting guy. I don't know how to describe Ed. He was a businessman. So I mean, he's the first name on the Mount Rushmore of disc golf. Period. End of discussion. Like, he gets all the credit in the world for everything he did. But he was also, he was Ed. A lot of people had some mixed interactions with him. Let's put it that way. I don't want to hurt the godfather of our sports image or anything like that. I mean, everybody, by the way, everybody that had bad interactions with him still loved him. I mean, we were like a family, right? We all loved, you have that uncle that's tough to deal with at times. You still love him. So we loved Ed, and we're very grateful to him, but he was Ed. It was very Ed of him. I don't know how else to put it. Here, I'll tell you a story about Ed. I will. This is just funny to me. When I met Adriana, and she's going to be traveling with me, and I was, she wasn't familiar with the sport. I told her about Ed Hedrick and other things, and I said, I go, let's play a game. I said this before we took off to tour 4 years ago together. Let's play a game. I go, every time we run into someone that knew Ed, I'm going to ask that person, so what year did Ed sue you? And in the last 4 years, we've run into countless people that knew Ed, right?
Mhm.
How many people have you run into that Ed didn't sue? It's 3, isn't it?
We just found a 4th.
Oh, okay, sorry. We just found a 4th that Ed didn't sue,
Yeah.
or at the very least, send a cease and desist letter to. And by the way, every one of these people that has been sued by Ed still love Ed. It's just Ed. It's what Ed did. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hurt the man's image. But we love him. He's the first person in my disc golf Hall of Fame. But I still want to be honest. All right. Went to the clinic. It's really helped your game. I have a sidearm now before, and I didn't. And the backhand method has helped. I'm so happy to hear this. And the putting theory of average is liberating. Thanks. I would go to another clinic years and bring a buddy. Thank you again. You are so welcome, and thank you for the kind words. I'm very proud of my life's work learning how to teach this game properly. Remember, like the end result, we all agree, me and Ulibarri and Philo and Holland Hanley, like we all agree on the right way to, like, what is a correct throw and what's an incorrect throw. None of us really disagree on right and wrong way to throw. What I've developed is a process to get there. And I swear by my process. I believe it works better than anything else. Let's see. Your daughter, who just turned 13, loves disc golf. She actually placed second in FJ12 at 2023 U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championships. Congratulations. What are your thoughts about sponsorship at this age, as she's starting to receive a few offers? Okay, she's only been playing since 2020. Okay, so first off, sponsorship's great. It's free stuff. Disc golf costs money. Like, look, there's not a parent in the world whose kids are in a winter hockey league that wouldn't love free hockey gear. If somebody offered their kid free hockey gear, because you're a parent, that costs money and the sport costs money. So anything that like, yeah, take it and run with it for sure. I think it's great. It's also part of the process of learning what's involved in the sport. Like this in the modern world, it's not just about performing on the athletic playing field. It's about your image. It's about your brand. It's about your social media presence. It's about these other things, and those things are important too. And I mean, I'm not trying, if she's 13 years old, trying to like overwhelm her or you, but it's like, if you're learning how to play disc golf with an eye towards perhaps doing this, taking it serious, well, then part of the process of taking disc golf serious is going to be her brand, her social media presence, right? This is all part of the package, and I think I think you can start learning at any age. But most important, get free stuff while you can. Oh, but I've also heard, by the way, that I can't speak for any other company. I'm only going to tell you what I've heard. For example, I have multiple friends that are the Innova junior disc golf team, and they think it's a really neat community, and they love the community of other disc golfers out there. I'm not suggesting that they're any better or worse than any of the other teams' communities, but I'm just saying that I've heard from some of the Innova juniors that like the community. So it's even kind of part of this international club of other kids. But yeah, get the free stuff. Come on, parent. I'll tell you what, if you don't accept sponsorship for her, do not tell that to any parent who drives their kids to hockey games every Saturday, that you turn down free gear for their sport. You will not get any sympathy. Where are you going in Canada? In Canada, I'm going to, is it called the Capital something? It's the Capital something or other in British Columbia.
Kamloops.
Kamloops? Is that where we're going?
Columbia.
See, I book my tournaments and then I don't like pay attention until it gets close because it's overwhelming. But I know it's up in the mountains. It's British Columbia. It's kind of all in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's in Canada. Does that help? No, I just know that it's after the Beaver State Fling or the Portland Open, like 2 weeks. 2 weeks after Beaver, I think.
Yeah.
Who was my putting goat in disc golf? I mean, statistically, it's Andrew Marweed. Like he would be that position. Um, God, it's really tough. I would say that there's three people that I would like. Would be hard to pick against those. It would be Paul Macbeth, Ricky Wysocki, and Ken Climo. By the way, big stretch there, right? Picking probably the three best players ever. Um, I would say that, like, if I had to say just purely on putting, I'd probably give the nod to Ken. Um, I think that Paul and Ricky would, like, if they went out on the modern baskets, would probably be a little stronger putters because they grew up playing a type of game where you could be aggressive on these putts. Where Ken grew up, he had to develop a different putting form because you couldn't putt as hard at those baskets. So what Ken did was harder. So I would say that, like, I would say, okay, I'll say this for sure. Paul and Ricky could not putt on Mach 3s as well as Ken did. I don't think anybody in the world could putt as well as Ken Climo on those baskets. Ken on the other baskets would be great, but he would have to modify his game because he would all of a sudden get the opportunity to be more aggressive than he has previously been, because you can't be aggressive on Mach 3 baskets. So he would have to, there'd be a learning curve for Ken, but I would probably give it to Ken. But I wouldn't pick again. All three of them are better than me. It's not even close. And then for FPO, it's Owen Scoggins and nobody else. What's the wildest thing you've ever witnessed, either an attorney or casual rounds as well? Let's see. By the way, there's a lot. Okay. I moved to a bad part of Denver, and it was a bad neighborhood. And there's this course called Paco Sanchez, which is right in the hood. I mean, the worst part of Denver is like the suburbs of like, a big town on the East Coast. It's like, it ain't that bad, but it's still the bad part of Denver. And I went out there, and on my very first day, I go out to, this is my new home course, everybody, and I show up there, and there's a league going on, and I join the league, and I saw on my very first round ever there, I saw a person driving down the middle of the course, with his like low rider and the music blasting, right? It's got, just doing it the low rider thing right down the middle of the course. I saw a couple people having sex on one of the holes, and then I saw a car get pulled over in the park, and the cops pulled everybody out and arrested them. And that happened during my very first round. Probably not the weirdest thing ever, but the fact it was my first round, I was like, yay, okay, this is a hood course. I kind of liked it. I felt tough. Let's see. Really excited to see you at Ledgestone and the Champions Cup this year. Curious what my thoughts were at the Northwoods course. I think it's the best woods course in the world. And the reason why I think it's the best woods course in the world is it has one element. By the way, this isn't something that favors me, annoyingly. I wish it did. So, like, I will, like, a course like in Butler, in Pittsburgh, favors me more than Northwoods does. But Northwoods is a better course because here's what Northwoods does. It's a wooded course. But on most wooded courses, when you have a par 4 or a par 5, that just means that it's, let's say it's in the woods and it's 600 feet. And you punch your drive, but you might be able to get a drive 450 through the woods. And then you have like a 150-foot upshot because you managed to hit the gap and then you missed a tree by enough and it kind of kept going. Northwoods doesn't do that. Northwoods, their par 4s and par 5s mostly do this. They go up, then they turn, then they go over, which means when you're going up that fairway, if you, let's say you have a landing zone, if you throw it less than 300 feet, you haven't made it far enough into the next fairway to have a shot at the hole, which means you're having to just pitch around the corner and now you're still 250 feet away. If you throw 300, more than 350 feet, then you are in the woods on the far side and you have to pitch out of the woods before having a 250-foot shot to the hole. So basically, it's a par 4 in the woods, if it's a par 4, where you have to gauge your distance. You actually have a landing zone. And it makes it so freaking hard because you can't just throw hard, hit the gap, and then either you land in the fairway or you don't. And if you're not in the fairway, you might actually punch forward enough for a jump putt approach or something like that. No, there is none of that. So you'll have a hole that's like, say, 500 feet, but you cannot physically get more than 200 or 225 feet from the basket on your drive because you have to land at this landing area, and that makes it so hard. The difference is like you won't even notice on coverage why that makes it different, but it does. It's really, really hard. I like it because it's hard. So because the course is hard, I was playing with Bradley Williams, and he said something to me that I now use this to define what makes a good hole or a bad hole based on something he said while playing Northwoods Black. And what he said was that every single, the way his words were, he says, every single hole on that course, if you par it, you still get a dopamine hit. So there's so much risk of a problem that any hole out there, even when you par it, you're not upset. But not only, you're not just not upset, you actually feel good. Like every par is like, whoo, dodge that bullet. And it makes you feel good. Now, I'm going to take this a step farther and say, this is what I've decided what makes a good hole. Sorry, let me back up. I'm going to give you I got to give you some context as I explain this. It's way more complicated than you were asking for, but you asked. So I used to smoke cigarettes. Okay, we're going to talk about cigarettes for a second. Up until like 25 years ago, I smoked cigarettes. And if you smoke cigarettes, you believe that cigarettes make you feel good. Like, oh, that cigarette, oh, it feels so good. No, it doesn't. Cigarettes don't make you feel good. You are withdrawing from cigarettes. Your dopamine, your serotonin, your norepinephrine, or whatever is like being reduced. Cortisol's coming out of your brain. When you smoke a cigarette, the nicotine doesn't make you feel good. It makes you feel normal. So you smoke a cigarette, you just feel like I would feel like I do right now. But since just 30 seconds ago, I was craving a cigarette with all these chemical things misfiring in my brain. The cigarette actually made me like, it feels like it makes me feel good because I'm just comparing it to how I used to feel. But really, I just feel normal. That's the illusion of why we think cigarettes make us feel good. It's bullshit, but that's what it feels like because we're comparing it to that. Sorry. So anyways, the reason why I decided what makes a good hole is that on the tee pad of the hole, of a good hole, and clarify this can't be based on luck. So I'm not saying based on luck, but on a good hole, you should feel anxiety on the tee pad. You should feel like a smoker who needs a cigarette. Like you should have anxiety, which is chemical. You should feel a little bit of fear. You should a little bit of anxiety. You should feel that on a good hole because that means that if you get a par, it's like getting your cigarette. Like, sure, you don't actually feel good, but it feels like it feels good because you went, ah, oh, that's a relief. So you had to feel anxiety for the par to feel good. If you don't feel anxiety on the hole because the hole doesn't worry you and you get a par, you might not be mad, but you're not happy about it. All right. Hole 1 at Eureka or every hole at Northwoods Black, you're on the tee pad, you're like, oh God, I mean, this could suck really bad. And then if you get a par, you're like, you feel good. Then when you get the birdie, it's like a triple dopamine hit because it's a birdie. But on a good hole, it shouldn't take a birdie to make you feel good. A par should make you feel good because on the tee pad, you weren't feeling good. Wow, it was way too long of an explanation. But the more of those holes there are on a course, the better. Northwoods, I don't know, 10, 12 of the holes at Northwoods, you're on the tee pad going, I could double bogey this hole. And when you par it, you're like, yeah, but I feel pretty happy right now. Yeah, no, Northwoods Black is great. All the woods courses, but they're none of them are as good as Northwoods Black can me. Is my truck between the lines right now, Scott? Actually, no. Hi, Kendra, by the way. This is our filmmaker who's going to be traveling around with us. I'll have you know that my parking job right now, was it perfect?
It was.
It was so good. I literally bragged about it. I bragged to Adriana. I said, dude, check this out. I made her walk over and I showed her that my truck was between the lines.
And he didn't even bump the bumper.
I didn't bump the bumper or anything. I'm the only man in America with like a Ram pickup truck that doesn't know how to drive it. Every other guy that owns like a big old Dodge or Ford pickup truck, whatever, like they all know how to drive their truck. I'm the only one that doesn't. I can drive it well, I just can't park it.
What is the highest point that you've ever thrown a disc from?
The highest point I've ever thrown, altitude?
Mm-hmm.
I one time I had the highest elevation ace in the world at like 12,100 feet or something like that. I'm sure it's been beaten. I haven't heard, but it had to have been. It was on top of Aspen Mountain. But our plan is to go to Nepal. We can't go this summer. Darn, it's gonna have to be the summer after.
It was supposed to be this summer.
Yeah, we were gonna go to Nepal this summer. I guess it'll have to be the summer after. We're gonna go to Nepal.
Everything's getting pushed back again.
Everything's being pushed back here because we had this amazing year. Yeah, don't blow it for us, Kendra, with your filming. Hey, by the way, you want to hear the scariest thing about Nepal? Okay, so we've already clarified. I'm terrified of heights. I hate flying, not because I'm afraid of flying's safe. I'm afraid of heights and I hate being up there. It just scares the hell out of me, right? So our plan, we can't do it this summer, but the summer after we're gonna go to Nepal. Like my commitment when I decided to travel the world last year was that I wouldn't not go somewhere because I'm afraid of flying. So even if I hate it, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to hate it while I do it. And basically you fly into Kathmandu, which is like 4,000 feet above sea level, which is basically nothing. That's lower than Denver. You stay for a day or two, and then you basically have to head up to like the base of Annapurna or K2 or Mount Everest, whatever. But like you head up into up to 10 or 12,000 feet. That's the Himalayas where you're supposed. That's why you're there. And where we're trying to get to, where we're going to go to, there's only two ways to go. One of them is and I've watched videos of this, and my palms are sweating. It's like the most dangerous road in the world. It is this like narrow dirt road with like 5,000 foot vertical drops down the side, and the road's like a couple feet wider than the width of the truck that's driving it. But sometimes it rains and it's muddy, and the trucks can slide or the bus can slide because there's mud, but the drivers can't afford to we'll just sit and wait for the monsoon season to end. So they have to do it anyways. It sounds absolutely terrifying. Everybody that's done it that I know of said it was the scariest thing they've ever done, and they're not even afraid of flying, and they're terrified. So the other option is you fly, but you fly in this little tiny propeller plane, which is terrifying to me also, a little like one propeller plane. But here's the part that's screwed up. The companies that fly, as part of their advertisement to talk you into taking their planes, they advertise all the different plane wrecks you can see from the plane. So they're literally advertising, oh, this is where you fly over. There's there's all these plane crashes below you from the other planes that crashed, and they're using this in their advertising. Yeah, I don't think that's funny at all. Can you grab me the power cord, please? Because I got it plugged in over there. So yeah. Oh no, yeah. Oh wait, I need the one with the. Oh, just the USB is fine. So there's the USB port over here. Yeah. So anyway, those are my two options, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be terrified. Kendra, you're going to be with me, filming me. Why would I do that? I don't care. I'm doing it anyways. I'm not going to not go. I'm not going to not go to Nepal because I'm afraid. I won't do that. I'm just going to hate it.
You'll hear me laugh on the video.
Yeah, you're gonna laugh. That's because you're horrible. That's why I hate you. I wish you would. Okay, there we go. But now we're charging. Have any played courses at or below sea level? That's a good question. I've been below sea level. I've thrown frisbees out at 212 feet below sea level at what's it called in Death Valley? What's it called? Badwater Basin. Yeah, so I've thrown frisbees in Badwater Basin. So I've thrown, but I've never been to the Dead Sea or anything. But I will. That's on my list. Favorite movie and snack. Favorite movie. It's got to be Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's that the original, not the second one. There was no second one. That's probably my favorite movie. The best movie I've ever seen. There's a movie. It's. I'm gonna sound so pompous, but it's a Korean film. It's called The Handmaiden, not The Handmaiden's Tale or whatever those things are. It's actually like a Korean film. I'll go nerdy for a split second, but if anybody knows who Kurosawa is, he did a movie. He's a Japanese director from the 50s, 60s. He made a movie called Rashomon, which is this brilliant story of there was a crime committed, and then they tell the same story multiple times through a different person's eyes. Every story told honestly what the person saw. Just you as a viewer, you get one story. It's honest and it's true, but then you see it through the other person's eyes, and you see some missing parts of the story that actually paint a different picture, and you realize this person didn't have all the information. Then there's another person's story that there's watching it. Anyways, there's been movies that've kind of tried to replicate that, but they always reference Rashomon in that. Anyways, this is a movie that is it's the same thing as Rashomon. It's a story of a woman living in a house because she's planning on robbing this house in Japan. And anyways, it's like it's the best movie. It's the best movie I've ever seen. It's perfect. So that's the best movie, but my favorite is probably Willy Wonka.
Favorite movie snack?
Favorite movie snack? Red Vine, Screw Twizzlers. USA, USA. When are these new discs getting released? Who says I'm developing my own line of golf discs who says I'm manufacturing golf discs now? I don't. Crank call.
Probably soon.
I mean, if they were coming out, I would certainly announce them before the 2024 season. That's for darn sure. Like, I mean, that would be crazy not to announce them in 2 weeks. But who's to say that I'm manufacturing golf discs? About halfway through your book right now is awesome. Thank you so much. You can relate to a lot of the stuff you talk about, except for being a world-class disc golfer. No, I appreciate that. It's really funny about the book is that it has so many people say it's relatable, and I think it's just because I'm honest about like the good and the bad about my life. I'm very honest about where I've screwed up and why. And the reason I think it's relatable is that because we're all humans and we all have the same failings. Maybe not identical failings, but we all have failings. So I think anybody that's honest is immediately relatable. Because if you're honest, then we've all failed.
That's the same kind of feedback you're getting about the documentary too.
Yeah, the documentary.
From people who don't play.
Oh my God, yeah. So, the documentary, like it won this award in Park City, Utah, best director of a documentary feature. Kendrew Mueller, who was just in here, might still be, won the best director award. And it won another award at a film festival here in Los Angeles. That's why I'm in Los Angeles. Well, not why I'm in Los Angeles. I was coming out to my godfather's birthday party. And then we found out on the drive-in that Kendrew won another award for best director of a documentary feature. And they're going to be airing this documentary on the big screen on Thursday. I think, to the best of my knowledge, I'm pretty sure it's the first time disc golf has ever been on the big screen. And it's a documentary about me. And everybody that's been watching it has said it's just totally relatable. And the reason it's relatable isn't because they played disc golf, but because it's about the human condition. Success and failure and fear and doubt and pride and ups and downs in life. Just tells us it's just a true story, but everybody can relate. Like, you don't have to play football to connect with Rudy. I mean, anybody that's ever tried to do something and failed and then succeeded, hopefully at some point, understands Rudy. What's my favorite ice cream flavor? This is gonna be the most boring thing about me, but I like chocolate, and I get chocolate every single time because I'm comparing chocolate in different ice because everybody does chocolate differently. So I go get chocolate because I want to see what their chocolate is. Now if it's well, we just avoid chains like the plague. But if you go to a place and it's like, oh, it's all Breyer's ice cream, then I won't get chocolate because I've had it before. I'll get something different. But if it's homemade ice cream, I just try their. I always try what's new. Yeah, you were at the disc golf expo a few days ago. You should go next year and sign some autos. Where was the expo?
It was in the Northeast somewhere,
Yeah.
but we were at in Park City. So.
Oh yeah, we were at the film festival. Yeah, we were busy, screening our movie at a film festival in Park City, Utah. The norm. Um, no, I would love to go. If I were to ever release my own line of golf discs, and if I was to start manufacturing discs, it would certainly be the type of thing I would go to. If I were to ever do that. We going out for Mexican food again at Idlewild? When did we go to, let me see. We went to Mexican. Well, I'm taking it. We went to Mexican food. Mexican food in Cincinnati. No, we're going to go to Skyline Chili.
I don't eat this.
But you're Mexican.
But I'm not.
Nah, you're Mexican.
Sometimes I get a ceviche.
Ceviche. Yeah, no.
It's the least
No.
Mexican thing on the menu.
Really? You're so funny. You're a self-hating Mexican. What do they call that? The self-hate.
I don't know.
I know. Just because her family's from Spain, she says she's not Mexican. Come on.
Don't get on his side.
What? They're on my side. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Anyways, no, we're gonna be going out for Skyline Chili.
I don't eat that either.
Let's see. Best and largest waffle cone ice cream is here in Shoe Swap. Wait, it's called Shoe Swap. Wow, I've never heard of Shoe Swap, and that sounds kind of kinky.
I don't know, but that's British Columbia, so we definitely got to find it.
Yeah. So yeah, no, but I mean, but I don't know. We might be into shoe swapping. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the jealous type. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if someone else wears her shoes.
You have 2 pairs of identical shoes.
I have 2 pairs of identical shoes I could swap. Yeah, we could be into some shoe swapping. Go-to tournament snack in the bag. Oh my God, I'm going to sound absolutely like the most horrible person in the world when I say this. Okay, please forgive me. I'm going to sound like that asshole that just started doing CrossFit. Or forgive me. But ever since I started the last few years, when I started really focusing on like almost no carbs and just like really, really, really high protein, I don't even get hungry during rounds anymore. And I don't dip. My energy stays good. Like I'm not anti having snacks. I mean, I recommend having snacks if you start to feel it. You would want something. So if I not yeah, if I will always carry like meat sticks in the bag, right? Like beef jerky or something. But yeah, it's all. But I generally don't even eat that because I realized if I eat like a high protein diet in the morning, lots of eggs and meat, then I'm usually fine for like 8 hours. I always feel like I'm somebody that like a vegan or someone that started doing CrossFit. They're like, "Oh, I'm doing the keto diet," and I'm like, "No, I'm not on any diet. I just realized that carbs make me hungry an hour later and protein doesn't." What do you think about Kristen Tatar's the Porsche sponsorship? So it's not about what I feel about Kristen and her Porsche sponsorship. It's the way I feel about all these kids. I hope they just get everything they possibly ever dreamed of and deserve. And I love the fact that our sport is at a point where the athletes in our sport are getting all this stuff. And I'm nothing but happy for them and proud of them. And I hope they're all cashing in. Like, I don't care who it is. If you said, what do you think about so-and-so pro getting this shoe sponsorship? My answer is I'm thrilled for them. It's good for everybody. It's great. Porsche sponsors Kristen Tatar. Cool. Does that mean that Corvette's going to sponsor somebody? Yeah, probably. Right? I mean, if they don't, then we have a sport with 15 million people playing it and only one automobile company sponsoring somebody within the sport. I don't know. I mean, that doesn't seem like a good move for other automobile manufacturers. So like it's great. It's good. It's good for everybody. Same way I felt when Paul got his $1 million contract. I've never been very close to Paul, but I saw him right after he, by the way, we're not close. I mean, I see Paul. We'll like shake hands and chat for a bit, and you know what I mean. We get along, but we're just different people. But like when Paul signed his $1 million contract, the very first thing I said to him afterwards is, I said, I hope every single player on tour walks up to you and thanks you, because every single player on tour will make more money because of your sponsorship deal, and they all owe a debt of gratitude to you. I don't know if anybody ever actually did thank him, but they should. Everyone made more money. So anyways, that's how I feel about it. It's great for the sport. It's great for everybody. She deserves everything she gets. Do I have a style of disc you're going to put out first yet? If I was to make discs, who knows? But I can tell you this: I have no like, as far as you know, I have no plans to manufacture golf discs, and I'm almost definitely not going to make an announcement in the next couple of weeks that I'm now manufacturing discs. So I don't know what you're talking about. I can tell you this. Here's what I'll tell you. I would not, because I want to like keep my brand and standard up to a certain level. I will tell you this: if I did put out some golf discs and release them, the one thing I can promise you is they will be amazing flying golf discs with the best, grippiest, tackiest plastic you ever felt in your life. But who's to say I'm going to manufacture discs?
Sounds like a lot of work.
Sounds like a lot of work. I mean, at my age, why would I start manufacturing golf discs at 54 years old? I make a good living teaching. I make good money in clinics. I can travel. I can have fun. It's an easy, relaxing life. All I got to do is book some events and shoot some content. Come on. Why would I start a disc manufacturing company at my age? That would be so stupid. The only reason I would even consider manufacturing discs at my age, the only thing that could motivate me to do that, to be totally honest, because y'all know I don't give a shit about money. I give away anything I don't spend, I just give away anyways, right? So the only thing that would motivate me to start a disc company is if I believed that with millions of dollars, I could bring disc golf to every developing country on earth. And if I felt like if I started a company, since I don't give a shit about money, like I'm not stuffing money in my mattress, I'm certainly not planning for a rainy day or next week. So if I was very financially successful, I could do these projects, these global projects I have in mind to bring disc golf to all the people on earth that don't have disc golf. That would be the only thing that would actually motivate me to even consider releasing a line of golf discs, because I don't need the money. I make enough money teaching disc golf to feed us
For daily life.
for daily life. Yeah, and I'll worry about next month. But yeah, that's the only reason I would do it, hypothetically. But it sounds like a lot of work. I'm 54 years old. I don't know, to take on a project of that magnitude at my age. That would be crazy. Hey Scott, super stoked to have gotten to play disc golf at the OG Corsi today. Hey, you did park in between the lines. Thanks again. Thank you, right? I did. Thank you very much for having my back, Eric. I parked in between the lines for the third time ever today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we didn't even. I've been taking pictures of all the bad parking jobs, and
yeah,
it didn't give me any joy today.
Yeah, I didn't give you any joy today. You want to take that back?
Well, dinner was nice.
All right. No, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm working on my parking. By the way, I'm not a terrible driver. I'm great at parking backwards. I got no spatial awareness when I pull my truck in forward. That's all. Liston Davis, you're a disc golf legend. That just means old. And the way you keep giving back to the community is amazing. Your storied background gives you unique on the highs and lows of competition. Keep being you. Thank you so much. I love giving back. Like I said before, I'm a financial planner's worst nightmare. Whatever money I have, I to live and do the stuff we want to do, and then I just give away what's left. and I'll worry about next month. I think it's a good way to live for me. You're hoping to host a Baobab only tournament near Stockton around the week of the OTB Open. Would you be interested in playing or maybe doing a clinic around it? I would very much be interested in coming out and maybe doing a clinic around it. Baobab is the most underrated disc in the world. The Baobab from AGL, everybody. It is 97% of the throws out there, you would never throw the Baobab. But on those 3% of holes where the Baobab's the best disc for it, there's no disc in the world that's better. It's a super overstable, super slow disc, like mid-range. It's not even, it's called a mid-range, but it flies nowhere near as far as a putter. Like you throw as hard as you can, it goes like 60 meters. But I bag it. I mean, it's a great disc. I have a question, Scott. What's your 3 favorite discs ever made and why? Okay, so I would say, God, I could give the cheesy answers. I give my 3 world record discs. That's a good question. How about we start with ever made, right? We're going to start with the Space Saucer. And the Space Saucer, and by the way, it also could have been the Pipco Lil Abner. They kind of came out at the same time. Those are the first flying discs made. The Pluto Platter was the first Whammo Frisbee. But the Lil Abner and the Space Saucer, and the reason why is because that was the first time that people made things that basically didn't fly like this. Like aside from, I know it's boomerangs and there's kites and whatever, but like, paper airplanes. But for the most part, when you bought a toy, it flew in an arc. And then the flying disc was the first one that you could turn right or turn left or turn right and left. And it was like such a revolutionary concept that only existed because they invented injection molding. And then, injection molding. So when they made these first flying discs, the Space Saucer, they made these before they knew what people would do with them. So the early flying discs literally would say, some of them printed onto the disc itself in the plastic, it would say invent games. So they made the disc first and they said, hey, this thing does different things than a ball, go make up games to play with it. And from that came Ultimate, Guts, Frisbee Golf. So those are the first ones that came out. That would be the first. I would say the second one would have to be my second favorite disc. I would say that it would be the Eagle from Innova, not the Eagle that you buy today, but the original Eagle, because that was the big paradigm shift in the sport, where the sport transitioned from being a game to a sport. I know it was a sport before, but I feel like there's a before and after that disc came out. The Bevel Edge disc just changed the world. And then the third one would have to be the X Clone from Discraft, because that's the first disc that I set the world record with, which had been my goal my whole life up until when I set the record. I wanted to set the Guinness World Record. So I'd have to say the X Clone. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Modern disc though, it's the Berg. And it's the Berg because I've always been a crappy finesse player. Not crappy, but it was never my strong suit. And once I started throwing the Berg from Castoplast, it just changed my world. Now I'm a good finesse player. I guess I was good before, but I was never great. But I feel like I'm great at it now. Hey, what's up, brother? Just wondering if you ever did any clinics on any reservations or for Native Americans. You're Cheyenne and Arapaho from El Reno, Oklahoma. Thanks for your time. That's a great question. So the answer is, so no, not directly for them. Whenever I'm in places, I mean, you go out to Oklahoma, there's Native Americans out at the clinics, right? It's just that's part of they're part of the community like anybody else. There was a clan in Oklahoma and Kansas called the Warriors. Their actual name was the Warriors. That would go to tournaments and the whole family would come out and a bunch of them would play. But I never did a specifically just for them. I absolutely would. One of the things that if you follow me, is that I do 2 things at once. I do things over here that I charge really good money for. Like you come to one of my clinics, I'll get 40, 50, 80 people at 25, 30 bucks a piece, right? I make really good money in my clinics. I charge $400 a person for my full day seminars, groups of 6. So I make really good money over here. But the reason I do that is because then over here, I can give stuff away for free. So all my special needs events are free. All my disc golf classes in developing countries are free. All the prize money I win at tournaments is I give away, right? So it's like I operate both at the same time. If I had the opportunity to do events like on reservations, those would be events that I would do for free, depending on the situation, because I know that the economy on a lot of the reservations it's really tough. The most poverty I've ever seen in the U.S. was actually driving through Montana at some of the reservations that you drive through. That was a poverty that I'd never seen anywhere else in the U.S. It still is probably nothing like it is in Africa and Southeast Asia in some places, but certainly for the U.S. it's the most. If I did a clinic up there, I wouldn't charge for it. Like I make the money over here so I can do those things for free. So if I ever went out to a reservation, yes, I would do it and it would be free. How's my Circle 2 putting these days? It's good. It's not the best. I try. Hey, I got an interesting stat for you on Circle 2 putting though. This is going to take a minute to explain, but you guys are going to get a kick out of this, I think. If you're statistics and numbers people. So I'm going to post a question here, and Adriana, I'm going to post a question, and then I'm going to go step out for like a minute while you guys write in your answers, and then let's see if anybody gets it. So the question is, which stat? You know how you just have all those stats, greens and regulation, and fairways hit, and circle one putting, and scramble, etc. Which of those stats on the Pro Tour most correlates to success on the tour? Like every single stat, the better you are, the better you do. But some of them carry more weight than others. And there's one stat of all the Pro Tour stats that is the strongest indicator of success on the tour. So give me like 30 seconds, you guys. Post your answers, and I'll be right back. I am back.
On Instagram, it said scramble.
Scramble.
Circle 1X in regulation.
Circle 1X in regulation. And a bunch of fairways hit. Okay, wide range of answers. So first off, I can tell you it's not scramble. And the reason I can tell you that is I believe last I checked, I was #1 in the world in scramble. Like there's a lot of stats. Most of the stats, I'm not in the top 50, but I was #1 in scramble. I have more those types of shots than anybody else. So I wish it was. Then I'd be doing better. No. So first off, I always said it was circle one putting. Right. I always thought that whoever made the most putts inside the circle, like it's like in ball golf, it's short putts, right? That's kind of what people would teach you. That's what I thought. Not true. It turns out circle one putting on the Pro Tour is not that strong of an indicator of success. And the reason why is that there's not much of a difference between a good putter and a bad putter on the tour. Like a good putter on tour, Circle 1X is what, 88%, and a bad putter is what, 84%, 83%? Like on the tour. So, I mean, there's a big difference between tour players and non-tour players, but on the tour, that's only 88 to 83% means that after 20, I believe after 20 putts, the good putter will have made one stroke after 20 Circle 1 attempts. So everybody's really good. It's pretty close. No, so it turns out the stat, number one correlation is greens in regulation. And basically what that means is, do you throw your drive on a par 3 into the circle? And or do you throw your approach shot, your second shot on a par 4 into the circle, or your third shot on a par 5 into the circle? That's greens in regulation. Now, if you think about this, it makes perfect sense. Because let's suppose you are an unbelievably great Circle 1 putter. In fact, let's say you are, in this fantasy thought experiment, you are a 100% Circle 1 putter. You're the best Circle 1 putter of all time. And let's say I'm not that good. Let's say I'm a terrible Circle 1 putter. I'm say I'm 80%, terrible for the Pro Tour. You're the best, I'm the worst. I throw it in the green 9 times during the round. You throw it in the green 6 times during the round. I miss 2 of those 9 putts. There's not a single thing you can do to catch me because you only had 6 attempts. If you're not on the green, you can't make up those strokes. No matter how good you putt, you can't compensate for the fact that I've thrown it in the green 3 more times than you. So whoever throws it on the green, greens in regulation, is the best player. I mean, this is the strongest correlation to success. Now, here's why this is funny. So when I was looking at, I was always trying to figure out when you look at like circle, like I say, compare myself, like say it again. He's like 88. I forget exactly. Let's say he's 88% Circle 1X and I'm 84% Circle 1X, or he's 89, I'm 84. Clearly he's better than me, but it's only by 5%, right? Or 1 putt every 20. Now, on Circle 2 putting, I'm like 18% and he's like 40%. Okay, that never made sense to me. I'm like, wait a second. Like, how could he be this much better than me, Circle 1, but he makes more than twice as many putts as me, Circle 2? That doesn't make any sense. Then I realized greens in regulation. He is a better thrower. He throws his disc better than me. He lands in the circle more. Well, if he lands in the circle more than I do, in other words, he's a more accurate thrower, that also means that when he's outside of the circle and I'm outside of the circle, he's likely to be outside of the circle by a few feet. I'm outside of the circle by 15. So he has a lot of 36-foot Circle 1 putts where I have 50-foot, or Circle 2 putts. I have 50-foot Circle 2 putts. So of course he's going to make, I'm not saying he's not better than me, Circle 2. He is, but probably by the same margin. I bet if we both putted 50-foot putts, it would be probably the same difference. He's a little better, but he ain't putting 50-foot putts. He's putting 36-foot putts. I'm putting 50-foot putts because he is superior at greens in regulation. And that skews the Circle 2 putting stats. So again, I'm not saying he's not better, but it is skewed by the fact of what he's most importantly better than me, and that's the greens in regulation. And now, by the way, this also pisses me off because that's the stat where I'm like, how do I get better at that? I'm 54 years old, been playing my whole life. How do I just get better at throwing it in the circle more? I'm trying to throw in the circle every time I throw. So it's kind of like, I mean, how much better am I going to get than that? So anyways, yeah, it's a cool stat though. If you connected with local clubs or players on tour like you did during Blue Awareness tourneys, you're going to have absolutely golden content. Capturing the individual club cultures will be beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to capture all of these things. I'll be doing my special needs classes. I'll never stop doing that. Special needs classes for kids and developmental and disabilities and physical disabilities. And I even did a class for a senior center 2 years ago, which I don't do a lot of those, but I did one at a senior center. I did one at the Tennessee School for the Blind. I do one at, I mean, this is what I love to do. I'll capture all of those. Anytime I go out to club events, we'll capture that. Like I'm going to capture everything. Like, and I mean, I'm going to capture, he's the one who's going to be filming it, but basically we're paying him to film everything, which means I get to then just do all these things and not have to like not do them because I would have to edit. We're going to have it all in there. I love my special needs classes though. Any of them that let me film, I'll do. I recently came across my channel as you're on a journey of self-teaching and so grateful that you did. Thank you. Your videos have helped me a lot. Thank you very much for the content. You are very welcome. Do you mean self-teaching as far as the game or self-teaching in other areas besides the game? Let me know.
Question from Instagram.
Creston from Instagram. Wait, is the question, how do I look so young at my advanced age? I assume that's the question.
Chain Street USA says, what brought you back to the States this year? Did you originally plan on being going longer?
Oh my God. Yeah. So the reason I'm coming back to the States this year, I can't say for the next 2 weeks, but I came back for a really, 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 really super duper good reason. Yeah, I was going to be in Europe again this year. That was my plan. I had every intention of staying there, but an opportunity came up last summer that was way too, like it's the biggest thing I've ever done in the sport ever. And it was just way too big of an opportunity to pass up. And we're about to announce it in a couple weeks, but it's totally not that I'm releasing my own. It's totally not that I'm manufacturing discs. Don't start any rumors. Oh, we also have, actually we have a couple big announcements. I'm also totally, in addition to the not releasing discs, I'm totally not releasing a phone game in 2 weeks either. And I'm totally not documenting the whole thing with the camera crew. How many discs do I lose or find on disc golf courses each year? I don't find any. I don't ever find discs, or very, very, very rarely lose. I probably lose more. I'm going to sound like an asshole here. You're going to hate me when I say this, but I don't like pay for discs. I haven't paid for discs in a long time. So when I'm out playing and I lose a disc, I really don't spend a lot of time looking for it. So I lose probably more than anybody because like it's like I won't cut into my practice time to look for discs. And most of my practices, I don't even write my name on. So if someone finds them, it's like finding Easter eggs. But yeah, no, a lot. Coming to Northern California anytime soon, of course. I'm going to be at the OTB Open this year, and I'm going to be doing a 3-day training retreat in Lake Tahoe, a private training retreat for 4 people. Four people inviting me to come there specifically to teach a class for them. And I'll be doing some clinics up in Tahoe. That's maybe Northern California-ish, but I'll be at OTB and doing some other events up there too. Love Northern California. Would you recommend throwing nose over toes on every throw? Is this one of the new catchphrases?
It's, I guess, because you're going to have your weight shifted forward.
I would have to do me a favor. I have a hard time keeping up with all the current things. You know, it's bracing, it's power pocket, it's nose over toes. It's there's so many, like there's always these new phrases, and so usually when it comes to these phrases, we're all teaching the same thing, and they're different expressions. Like power pocket, like the word power pocket, it's an adjective describing an area of the body that people have been taught to throw in for years, but it seems like a new thing because it's a new word. So do me a favor, send me a video with nose over toes and I'll reply. My guess is probably, I mean, as far as should your weight be above your hips, that is one of my 5 tenets of throwing backhand. So it sounds like I'm suspecting yes.
What are your thoughts about dynamic discs, and what's your favorite disc golf brand?
What's my thoughts about dynamic discs? I love dynamic discs. I'll tell you all a story about dynamic discs. I was running. This is absurd. Like this is the type of thing that never happens. So I run all these events for kids and adults with special needs, and I do all these things, right? So I was running 10 tournaments, 10 PDJ tournaments, and was looking for a title sponsor. And I was only looking for these are all like small C tiers. So one title sponsor was going to be, I think, $2,500 for all 10 tournaments. This is like 7 or 8 years ago. So even back then the sport was smaller, but I was looking for $2,500 for the title sponsorship. And I contacted Dynamic Discs. I contacted all the disc companies to send them out a letter, and they wrote back and they're like, yeah, we love what you're doing. We love what you're doing with the special needs stuff. And they said $2,500 for it to be the title sponsor. And I said, yeah, that's all I'm looking for. And they said, well, then we'll be your title sponsor. And I said, cool. And they said, but we're not going to give you 2,500. We're going to give you 13,000. And I was like, really? And I said, what more do you want? What more are you asking for that additional money? And they said, nothing. We just love what you do. We want to support your work in the special needs community. So we're just going to give you an extra $10,000. And I've thought to myself, like, like, has that ever happened before in the history of the world, where you're looking for like a sponsorship or like something like that, and this is what you want for it, and then someone just offers you more? It doesn't want anything in return, and Dynamic Disc did that. So massive. I will be a lifelong fan of Dynamic Discs. I love them. As far as what discs I like from them, I throw the Felon. As of right now, I throw the Felon more than any other disc. I love the Felon. I like the Lucid X Felon. I like the Halo Felon. I like all the Felons.
And what's your favorite disc golf brand?
Favorite disc golf brand?
Those are from Instagram also.
God, I don't want to pick favorites, because I would say, to this day, Discraft has done more for me than any other company in the history of the sport, even though we haven't had a relationship for a while. Discraft will always have been like the biggest part of my career. I am a massive fan of Castoplast and everything they're doing. And Dave McCormick at Gateway, as an individual, the owner of Gateway Discs, has been such an important part of my life since I came back to the sport for personal reasons. I will never, ever be able to repay Dave McCormick at Gateway for what he's done for me. So I would say all three of those companies. It's hard to answer. They're all everyone's my friend. Adriana, we are going to start a women's weekly at Oak Grove Sunday mornings. How about joining us? We will be, by Sunday, we're going to be in Lake Havasu.
And also, Adriana does not play.
And Adriana's never played never thrown a disc before. She's never thrown a putt before. No, we got to be in Lake Havasu, because I am going all the way to Lake Havasu just to caddy for some kid named Dallas Garber, who, I don't know, I heard he's kind of good. So I'm gonna go just to be his caddy, because that's where the big bucks are. Would love to help you share any news via the disc golf show and any upcoming projects. Let us know. Are you kidding me? Please do me a favor right now before you forget. Message me, and we will just message me direct right now and just remind me. And then as soon as I get off there, I'll contact you back, and I would love to have you included in any of the announcements for sure. Of course, would love that for sure. Chris Wilson, heavy pink, disc with no stamps. What were they back in '79? Well, if they were a heavy pink disc with no stamp back in 1979, the only thing they could possibly be, if they were a golf disc, the only thing could have been there was a run of Midnight Flyers that came out of Whammo that were pink. The old Midnight Flyers that glow in the dark with the numbers on them, they came out with some that were pink, but I didn't think they came out until 81 or 82, but I could be wrong. I do know that Discraft was around then, and I think the Sky Streak was out. So that is I don't want to give you misinformation, but that's the only other possibility I can think of. Those are the only two discs that could have been remotely that color back in '79. All right, here we go. The disc golf. Okay, Scott, I'm trying to get a top of the line disc golf basket, DJ Mach 10 on the NBC Today show. When I get approval to bring it on for the live morning broadcast, would I like to be the demo guy? Of course I would. Of course. I am what is known in professional circles as an attention whore. But of course, I love being the Today show. I wouldn't be the first person on the Today show. Did you know that? There's two players that were on the Today show back in the 70s. Billy Bloom and Judy Horowitz appeared on I believe it was, I'm pretty sure it was the Today show. So I wouldn't be the first. I would be following in some big footsteps of Billy and Judy.
Are you saying Judy has big feet? I'm gonna tell her.
Judy Horowitz? No, that's different Judy. That's Arizona Judy.
Yeah.
Which I was so mad we missed Judy and Harvey while we were in Arizona. We just didn't have time. Let's see. Have I played any PDJ or disc golf players sanctioned round in the Deadpool mask? Optional. Any news on Chris Alto? Do I have that mask in here with me?
I don't know. Why would you have a Deadpool mask?
No. I don't have a Chris Alto mask, but the Deadpool ones are here, right?
No, I don't know why you had this.
Wait a second.
Mask.
All right, so check this out. Hold on. I'm going to look in. Let's see here. Let me see. Hold on a second.
No,
It's already here, right?
it's all right.
Okay, so check this out, John Putney. I want you to know something. I want you to know how much you mean to me. Is it there? Where is it?
Hmm.
No, it's here. Is it here? Wait a second.
Put it in a different section.
It's got to be in a different section. Wait a second. I have it.
Chinese New Year shit.
No, so John Putney is one of my favorite people from Oregon. And when we decided to travel around the world, where is it? I have it.
Probably with your notebook.
Probably my notebook. Okay, so he about 5 or 6 years ago, he gave me a Deadpool mask as a present. And when I took off the tour with every single thing I owned in basically a backpack and a golf bag and then a little computer bag, and I brought your Deadpool mask with me, and I still have it, John. She's looking for it right now, but I definitely still have it. So, but Chris Alto, I have no idea about that guy. He might, if I were to release a line of discs, though, I bet he makes an appearance at some point because he was quite popular. I don't understand. I hated that guy. Did you ever see the old George of the Jungle disc? George of the Jungle disc. It's ringing a bell, but I don't recall. All right. If the mask in the bedside table, I'm out.
That's where it is.
That's actually exactly where it is.
All right, that's it.
Is that everybody? All right, you guys. If anybody has any questions about anything, please shoot them over. If not, we'll call it a night. I just love logging on and just seeing everybody and hanging out. But if anybody has any questions about anything, does anybody want any advice? That's the important one. If anybody wants any advice on disc golf, relationships, career, religion, politics, no, not those two. But if anybody has any questions, I'm a wise old man. I'm like the Mr. Miyagi of this room. I'm the wisest man in this room. You're a girl. Let's see. You'll notify me if the producers approve it. If I ever top the line of the basket, do you have a preference? Innova Disc Catcher Pro, Disc Golf Change Star Pro, MVP, HD Blackhawk Board? No. Every single person makes, there are some good questions coming up. Every single company makes good baskets. Everybody makes good discs. I mean, the quality of everything has gotten so good that, they're all good. And I like all the companies. How do I get a small community to help with bringing disc golf to this area? There's plenty of land and great money. I've tried 3 times. Do you have meetings with county officials or even the town? Okay, I need a little more information. MODG. Please write back and tell me what city, state, and or country you're in. And let me but I'll come back to your question. How does a new player gain sponsorship? All right, I'm going to give you a quick 50-cent version on this because every single person can get sponsors. This is how it works. It does not matter. It shouldn't matter what your score is. It doesn't matter if you're a nice guy or a nice girl. It doesn't matter if you win tournaments. It doesn't matter your rating. The sponsorship comes down to one thing and one thing only. How much money does company A make? And if they sponsor you, how much more money does company A make because they sponsor you? Whatever amount more they make, sponsorship is you are entitled to some of that money. That's all it is. If they're giving you $100 and they only make $50 because they sponsored you, it's a terrible deal. It's a bad business investment. If they make $10,000 because they sponsor you and they give you $50, then you didn't do a good job negotiating and seeing your value because you could have gotten more. So that's really what it comes down to. How much can you move the meter on a company? Now, that, by the way, that company can be your own company. In other words, what are you worth to your own company, but how much are you worth to the other company? That's it. At the end of the day, that's what matters. So the way you get sponsored is by doing something or being somebody that will increase sales at a company, and then you talk to that company about you want some of that money. That's it. That's all it is. Now, there's, with a big company, it's a little tougher because they have packages because they can't work individually with every single person. So it simply becomes, oh, you're an MA2 player, you're a junior, this is the package you get, right? So there might not be a lot of wiggle room there, but that's what it is. Hey, sandwich shop across the street, you give me $100 a month and I will bring you 250 customers a month. You'll sell an extra 250 sandwiches if you give me $100. And if they're smart, they'll give you $100. And that's all it is. So if you go to my YouTube channel and type in Scott Stokely sponsorship, I give a much more detailed with some ideas and as far as how the process looks. But that's it. That's all it comes down to. Now, by the way, the disc companies, again, probably have they have 400 sponsor players and, street teams and juniors teams and legacy teams, that they kind of have a formula, but the local pro shop probably doesn't. Okay, cool. Talk to the local pro shop and say, hey, I'm going to get people to buy discs at your shop that would otherwise have bought them off Amazon or an online vendor or their competitor's shop. And if you do that, you're worth money to the shop. Okay, so I saw what you said. You're in Virginia, about an hour south of Richmond. Yeah, it's a tough process. I would contact the PDGA. They should have materials for you to go in. But it's a grind, and especially in a small town, because you have a couple of people, if they haven't heard of the game or are familiar with it, then you're having an uphill battle. Where if you go to a place where they've heard of it and they've seen it, they're contacting companies to put courses in the ground. So you got to educate them first. A great avenue is to maybe start with the Boy Scouts. They just now recently introduced disc golf as you get a badge for disc golf now, which is neat. But even before then, a Boy Scout project, something tied to the community like that, a community-based project. If the Boy Scouts are trying to put a disc golf course in, it's a lot harder to say no to than you at a city council meeting with 2 of your friends. It could be an uphill battle, but it's not the battle it was 30 years ago. There's resources in the ground. And then I would say even contact Innova Discraft, the big manufacturers. I don't know if they have packages together. They should. But the PDJ certainly should have packages you can use to, where you can put together stats. By the way, UDisc also, fantastic resource for statistics. How many courses go on the ground? How many people play? Those are all important, but don't reinvent the wheel. The process has been done before by countless people before you. I'll give you one more. Contact the local club that's nearest. If you contact there you go. Christopher Ellis says, contact Chris Heisel in Richmond. There you go. Contact someone that's done it before and let them help you with the process. Like, you don't have to write proposals. Those proposals have been written 1,000 times already, and a lot of them have worked. Use one of those. But yeah, contact a club in the PDJ. Let people help you. Wizard or AVR? Oh, so I love the Wizard, but every beveled edge putter made to this day is an AVR, and they've modified it. It started with the AVR. Oops! Oh, can I see the phone turned off? I can't even see it.
Yeah,
You can see me? All right, so I'm back. Let me see. My battery died, but the screen's really small, so I can barely see me. But that's okay. I don't need to see me. All right, what was the question that came in? Wizard or AVR? Yeah. So every putter made is basically an AVR. The AVR started it all, so everything is a version. But I love Dave McCormick and Gateway, so I'm gonna give the nod to the Wizard.
Have you learned to 18 all the way out at Oak Grove?
The 18-hole layout at Oak Grove? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna sound like a grumpy old man, but I love the original layout, and I wish it had never changed. And the old layout is not like with modern discs. I mean, I know it's not the best course. Like, it's a better course now than the original course because discs fly farther, everybody flies farther. But the nostalgic part of me, like, it feels like the course, like I wish it had never changed and the original course was there because that's what started it all. But if you're a player in Pasadena or La Cunada, La Crescenta, or any of those places that wants to disc golf, like, I get that you want a better course too. So I think it's tough. So, like, I wish the original course was there, but I'm also not there playing every day.
Because I play more disc golf and more fun wherever I visit.
Oh, is that a rhetorical question? Yeah, if you like playing, of course you should play more. Don't put a cap on how much you play. Don't put a cap on your happiness. That's
The disc golf says, you ever in southeastern Connecticut have an 18-hole ace run course? I want to get the course record on. It's set up for PGA putting.
okay. I appreciate that. Hit me up when I'm in the area. I don't play a lot of rounds off the course, but you never know.
Sounds like it would be a good side trip for the
Yeah,
vlog.
it's all possible. Everything's possible. A camera is going to be filming all sorts of adventures. So, all right.
One. First thing that's coming out says bomb video. He says, what's something you recommend?
For your first tournament, so here's Everyone says the same thing, just go have fun. But the thing is, if it was just about having fun, then why you like it? You would just play for fun, right? So it's about competing, wanting to do well. What I would say is go into the first tournament expecting to suck. Like, and if you don't, cool, hats off to you. But it's your first tournament. Like, don't put expectations on yourself. In fact, even expect it to go badly, and then just to kind of just enjoy the experience and learn. Like, you're gonna have fun no matter what, but just go in and learn. Get a feel for the rules, get a feel for the pace that you're going to be on, get a feel for how you interact with your group, get a feel for how people keep score at tournaments, how players parties and players meetings work. Just kind of get like learn, get familiar with it. Because then as you start going to more and more tournaments, you'll be thinking less and less about all the ancillary stuff going on. You can focus on the game because you already know the players meetings here. You already know what time we tee off. You already know who got the scorecard. The less distractions you have, the better you'll play. But you got to have familiarity to get to that point. As far as preparing for it, um, go out before the tournament, and if you can get there the day before the tournament, if it's an out of town course, if it's possible, and then try to play the course. If you can play the course with a local player who's playing the tournament, that's always nice because they could tell you a lot of times, like at a small tournament, out of bounds won't be marked till the morning of the tournament, and um, you might get caught off guard at the tournament itself. So it's always nice to learn that course ahead of time. But yeah, just don't set expectations.
This one from Instagram, tips for grip up flat instead of hyzer.
Grip for tips to putt flat instead of hyzer. Okay, wow, this is a harder one to answer, and I'm just going to explain it. I'm actually doing the putting portion of my online 6-month disc golf class as we speak. In fact, this part 2 of the putting class, ironically, happens to be tomorrow. Um, you want to putt straight. All right. Generally, you want to putt straight. You want to basically putt just at the chains. And the reason why you want to putt straight is that if you putt straight and you aim correctly, the putt goes in. Like aiming's hard, putting's hard, but at least you only got to get one thing right, which is the aim. Anything other than a straight putt. Let's say you have a putt that's like a slight, like an arcing putt. It goes out to the right and it falls into the target. If you did that putt, you still have to aim correctly to an imaginary spot to the side of the target on your curved putt. But in addition to aiming correctly, you have to also predict when's the disc going to slow down, when's it going to run out of speed, when's it going to run out of spin, when's it going to start to fade, how much is it going to fade, even how much more will the wind affect it because more of the disc is being shown the wind. The mere fact that you're not putting straight means you are adding 5 or 6 variables you have to get right without removing the initial challenge of aiming. You still have to aim to an imaginary sport to the imaginary spot to the side of the hole. So anything other than a straight putt is not correct. Now I said straight, I didn't say flat. My observation, I mean, and this is thousands of players later, but roughly 20% of players out there cannot putt flat. Not because they don't want to, not because they're not trying, not because they can't physically make the disc come out flat. But about 20% of players out there, the minute they get that disc to the point where it's completely flat, all of a sudden it just comes out wonky. It pulls to the right, it doesn't fly right, it comes out wobbly. That's not your fault. It's mechanical. All of our bodies are a little bit differently, and about 20% of people mechanically cannot do a flat putt. So if that's you, it's okay. You don't have to putt flat to putt straight. So the rule is if you're having a hard time getting the disc flat, but with a little bit of hyzer, it's fine. The rule is go ahead and putt with a little bit of hyzer. But the rule is that 10% of hyzer is better than 20%. 8% hyzer is better than 15%. But basically, you want to take the disc, you want to get it as flat as you can until the point where it stops working at that point. That's where you putt from. You can still putt that disc at a slight hyzer. You can still putt that disc straight. Paul Macbeth putts with a slight hyzer, Paul Macbeth putts straight, right? So don't get wired to having to putt flat. If you mechanically can't do it, it's not something you're going to fix. It has to do with the way your joints align and the way your body moves, and it's just you're just not a flat putter. So don't get wired to flat. Putt with a slight hyzer, and you're going to be perfectly fine. So the attempt should be to putt flat, but do not force it if that's not the way your body moves. So, there was a question about caddies.
Do you think they'll ever be professional
Do I
caddies
think there'll be professional caddies in the game? I don't know.
association?
Where? Yeah, there is a caddy association, but will they ever make money or make a living at it? I don't know. I mean, if caddies make 10% of what pros make, how much do I said if caddies make 10% of the pros, and how much do the pros make as far as prize money? They'd have to make an awful lot of money before 10% is a living wage. I don't know if we're ever going to have that type of prize money. I suspect we're not. So here's one of the things about prize money. Like by any other measure, disc golf is beating ball golf. Participation, growth, the number of players, the lower barrier to entry, the amount of new courses going in the ground. I mean, like in every way, disc golf is winning, except for the prize money on the pro tour. And the reason a lot of the prize money exists on the PGA Pro Tour, there's two things that are happening here that are going to be a barrier to disc golf. The first is there's a lot of traditional old money. Buick has been sponsoring that tournament for 30 years. It's a foregone conclusion. They're sticking $5 million into the purse every year for that Buick Invitational or something. I'm making this up, but whatever the company is, it's a lot of old money. You got a CEO of that company doesn't care about like he just wants to have lunch with Tiger when Tiger comes to town, right? So they sponsor the tournament. They're playing with like monopoly money. That comes from a point when there was only basically three channels on TV and there was very little other entertainment. So a third of the people in the country would watch. You're not going to get those type of numbers anymore because there's not three channels, there's 200 channels, and nobody watches TV anyways because they got Netflix, and then people that are on Netflix are on YouTube, and it's like you're not going to command the size audience that you had in the days of golf. And sponsorship is based by how many eyes can you put on it for every dollar spent. We're not going to get those numbers as ball golf because there's simply far more other forms of media and entertainment to watch. Like we're not going to command what a sport could have when there was only three network channels. Just not. That's the first thing. The second thing is that ball golf, because it's more of an elitist sport in many ways for people with money, you're targeting a higher end demographic, which means those customers are more valuable on average than a disc golf viewer is as a customer. Meaning, if you are running if you're an investment firm and you're trying to attract billionaires, well, getting your ads in front of billionaires is worth a lot of money to you. That same ad in front of the same number of people in the disc golf audience doesn't have the same percentage or numbers of billionaires watching, which means to a lot of these high-end companies, the ads aren't as valuable to them. So I don't think we're going to reach the purses of ball golf, even if we have more people playing disc golf than ball golf, which I suspect we will globally. I think disc golf is going to blow ball golf away in terms of participation, and it'll still never have the prize money to tour for those two reasons. That's just my feeling. So, having said that, that does kind of put a barrier on how much caddies make when players aren't making, they're not playing for however many multi-million dollar purses. That kind of makes it tough for them. So I don't know if it's ever going to be a professional as a job. I hope there is. I hope all these kids make billions of dollars and there's caddies making a living. I hope that all happens. I wish it does. But I think there's some things that are built into the system that are going to kind of prevent that.
What do people?
Schwebby, I love Schwebby. Brian Schwebberger, one of my favorite humans in all of disc golf. Schwebby. Thank you for being my friend, Schwebby, for all the everything over the years. You're the best. So Schwebby's in there, huh? Can you just say hi? What up, man?
That you think would be bad for disc golf in relationship to sponsorship?
Ooh, that's a really good question, and I can give you an answer, but I could very easily be wrong on this. Um, I personally, like even if I'm saying this, I'm not sure the answers. I don't know. I mean, anything that pushes away a large percentage of people probably isn't good. But I'm also not. I'm above. I'm about freedom in the free market. If someone wants to run a tournament sponsored by OnlyFans or the local strip club, and yeah, that might not make it the most family friendly event to some people. And my feeling is that their family is not the responsibility of the tournament director. The tournament director's responsibility is their tournament. And if they feel it's best, people come. And then if people don't want to come because of it, they don't come. Like I'm a big fan of the free market to decide these things. So I certainly wouldn't want to tell anybody not to run their tournaments the way they wanted to. Is it ultimately good for the sport? I don't think it hurts. Like you might have someone, oh, I don't want to come to that tournament, but does that mean they won't play disc golf? I mean, like, does it hurt? Does it hurt NASCAR that there's alcohol companies? Alcohol companies like far more destructive force than any dispensary or strip club. You know, would be the societal damage caused by alcohol companies. And those companies, those sports seem to do just fine. So I ultimately don't think it would hurt the sport. I really don't. I wouldn't want rules banning them because it's your tournament. I like the free market deciding. You know, like I've seen people like they've made a hot stamp that someone says, "Oh, I don't like that hot stamp of that tournament because it offends me." Like you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, "What do you mean they shouldn't do it?" No, you shouldn't go to the tournament if you're offended by the hot stamp. You have every right to not go. You're not entitled to go to the tournament. And if enough people don't want to go because the hot stamp, probably the tournament director changes it next year. But the tournament director shouldn't change their hot stamp for you. You know, so I'm really on the freedom and liberty side of most of these issues. I don't think it hurts disc golf, though. Come on. I mean,
So you think a non-disc golf company sponsored the transfer?
yes, yeah, of course it will. Yeah, I mean, when you're a company, when you're a company, it's like how many eyes you put on the company per dollar spent. Like at a fundamental level, it really comes down to that, which is like if I wore a patch that says Nike, well, how many people will see that patch for the amount of money Nike gave me? And there's a number. Nike will decide that it's worth paying 2.1 cents for every person that sees this Nike logo. That's what they decided it's worth. All right, well, if they pay me X amount of dollars and X amount of people see the patch, it's worth 2.1 cents. Now they can adjust that because then they would say, but you're Scott Stokely, and we've determined that let's say hypothetically they say, well, people respect you and they are more likely to purchase products that you endorse because they you have credibility with your brand. So then they might deem that worth 4 cents of view instead of 2.1 cents or whatever. But that's all it comes down to. Whatever that number is, if it's millions of views or thousands of views, it's just how many views percent. Now, when it comes to the big companies, by that logic, it makes sense for them to sponsor disc golf. They should sponsor every disc golfer, for a certain amount. It's just when the numbers are so small, they don't want to deal with it. It's like, oh, that 10-20 player, they're worth $106 a week or $106 a year, right? Just because the numbers are so small. Mathematically, it's still worth that same price per viewer, but do they sponsor thousands of people out there for $100 a month? Probably not. It's easier to get a couple people with big numbers. But yeah, so as the sport grows in popularity and simply visibility, for sure you're going to get that. I mean, once Kristen Tatar puts on the Porsche jacket, and at the end of the season, 16.5 million people over the course of a season see her in the Porsche jacket, and Porsche says, "Wow, 16.5 million people saw this respectable person in the sport, and it cost us $45,000 to do it." Okay, that was money well spent. It's all just math, just business. We just have to be big enough to be on the radar. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing when we went to the thing in the licensing show in London.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah, that was it. So I went to the world's largest licensing and branding trade show in the world. It was in London this last year, and we went there because we were going to talk to the largest sports agencies in the world, and in addition to that was Warner Brothers and Paramount and IMG and like Sony was there. I mean, like all the biggest companies were there. All the the agencies that represent the biggest soccer players, football players, soccer players in the world were there. And I'm like, cool. I don't think any disc golfer's ever gone to something like this. And so we set up meetings with all these like agencies. And we're like, I want you to represent me. I want you to put me in commercials, put me on your billboards, put me on the side of the Goodyear blimp, whatever. That's why I was going to meet with them. And it didn't go very far because our numbers are so small. It's like, how many people watch this? Oh, there's 15 million people playing disc golf. And it's like, oh, that's it? So I was just too small for them. I went because somebody always has to be the first to try to break into these things. Just because it didn't work for me this year doesn't mean it won't work for Yan and Bird in 5 years, but it has to start somewhere. So I tried, and I'll try again. But fundamentally, our numbers were just so small compared to soccer. Like, I mean, it was just, yeah, like IMG is not going to represent me. There's no money in that. They do multi-million-dollar Pepsi and Budweiser sponsorships. They don't do $10,000 disc golfer sponsorships. I tried though.
You used to identify.
Do I identify as a rational anarchist? Is that Doug Porter? John Putney. I am a rational anarchist. Yes, rational anarchist from The Moon is the Harsh Mistress by Robert Heinlein. It's basically, it just means like libertarian, effectively. Kind of what's close to that. But I don't like labels. I'm not part of a political party. That's for damn sure.
They were helper.
Yeah, I love playing with Dave Felberg. Dave's such a great guy. I love Dave. I love everybody. Not everybody, but damn close. I love all but like 3 people. How about that? Pretty good.
When you say disc golf, some people say disc golf. Is there a right way to say?
As far as disc golf or disc
golf?
Disc golf. You know what? It's strange as it sounds. I've never even thought about that before.
Stress and soul.
Yeah, so the way it's pronounced is disc, pause, golf. That is called frisbee golf and make the kids angry. Disc golf. Disc golf. Yeah, disc golf. I think I call it DIS golf. I think I don't call it disc golf. Disc golf. Yeah, but I don't think I pronounced the C. I think I call it disc golf. Yeah, so I guess but no, I guess the correct way would be disc golf. That takes too much effort to pronounce things correctly.
You have any plans to go back to New Zealand?
Of course, I have plans to go to New Zealand. My intention is to never be in the northern hemisphere for winter ever again the rest of my life. Park City was cold, but we were at a big fancy film festival. No, we'll be. Of course, I'll go to New Zealand. New Zealand is like I think of all the countries. We went to 36 countries in the last year and a half, and I would say that when I look at all the countries, and there's a lot of them that are doing really, really good. I mean, God, Japan. I don't want to like throw. There's so many good countries, but I think that New Zealand is probably like New Zealand crushes the people in New Zealand. The way that like just everything in New Zealand is just kind of run correctly. Yeah, New Zealand's a special place.
What's your
My on-course philosophy? I don't have an on-course philosophy. It's a lack of a philosophy. It's all just probabilities. Everything is just math. You step up to a shot, you throw the shot with the best probabilities based on the situation, and then you live with whatever the results are based on those probabilities. You have no control over the outcome of a shot. You only have control over the work you put into it to increasing your probabilities of success, and then the decision making to choose uh, with foresight, not hindsight, what's going to give you the highest probability of success. That's all you can do. And then you step up, but the actual results are no different than flipping over a card on the river in Hold'em. I mean, it's just probabilities. You don't control the outcome. You only control certain aspects. So control what you can control, let the rest go, and then just whatever the results are, they are. They're not good. They're not bad. That's why you never see me unhappy on the course. I'm like, it's like I don't control the outcome. I'm just a passenger.
what do you think about treating OB figure involved? Hole 17 at USDGC because OB agreed to.
Like what?
Something maybe about that.
About having a retee? That's yeah. God, it's like I'd like okay. So the idea of marking the disc where it was last safe is difficult. I like the idea. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of hazards than anything. If you're going to do it, because then you at least get to go play the disc where it lies, and there's no judging where it went in or went out. Having to re-tee a shot that goes out of bounds can just become such a severe penalty because you could have a couple bad shots in a row and then you just took a quintuple bogey on a hole. And I just don't like the idea of like I don't there's no reason that needs to be part of play. Like where just a couple shots that are off by a few feet and you take a quintuple bogey and your tournament's over. Like, I mean, I know we're professionals and we're the ones that threw the bad shots and we could have played it safe, but it just seems like a severe penalty. Whereas, like at a big tournament, a two-stroke penalty, you know, like you threw a bad shot, which is costing you a stroke, and now you got a penalty stroke from where because of your hazard. That's a 1 to 2 stroke penalty. That's a major penalty for a bad throw, like that really affects the outcome of the game. I don't think it needs to be more than that. So I hate shots where it's a potential blow up. Like if you take a quintuple bogey on a hole, it should happen when you were like making bad decisions, not when you were making reasonable decisions and then throwing your best shots and then there were a couple downdrafts that or crosswinds. I just I don't like it. Not because of me. I don't like watching it happen to my friends. Actually, I hate it more when it happens to other people because if I take an hit on a hole, my life's still pretty good. It doesn't really affect my life. But I hate to see like these kids. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Really, the number of discs in the bag person.
There's no reason to limit it. If someone wants to carry 50 discs, if they're stupid enough to carry 50 discs, then their penalty is carrying 50 discs. There's no advantage to carrying more discs. I don't have a problem with it. It's one of those arbitrary things like, well, it feels like too many, but that doesn't hurt anybody. They're the ones that have to drag them around. So I don't see any problem with it.
Thank you. This is a sake or is it fun?
Is it what? I think it's great, especially when I play MP50 tournaments because I'm in better shape than the other 50-year-olds. Like I'm in such good shape, but I'm still not as good a shape as like your average 25-year-old. So there's no advantage there. No, I think there's lots of challenges on the course. If one of the challenges on the course you have to walk up and down hills, if you're not in good enough shape to do it, well then cry me a river. Maybe you should have got on the treadmill more and ate less cookies. Like you're a professional athlete. If you can't handle it, look, if you're a professional athlete and you can't handle walking up and down hills, I'm not saying those aren't a struggle for people in the real world, but if you are a professional athlete who is at the peak of their game and walking up and down hills gives you a hard time, then you should definitely switch to like tiddlywinks. No. If disc golf is too physically grueling for you at a competitive level, then it's like you should take time off from disc golf and fix and work on that part first.
What about moving swinging baskets?
Elevated and swinging baskets. So the thing. Okay, so when it comes to things like this, I have the same answer, which is it's not just the elevator and swinging baskets. My answer is those are the correct holes. Like it's not my job to even have like I'm not saying I don't have opinions, but it's not my job when I go to a tournament, honestly, to have an opinion about if the OB is too close, if the basket shouldn't be elevated, if this hole doesn't have enough separation. Like none of those are my job. My job is to go use creative my skill of throwing a frisbee and my ability to creatively solve problems, to go out there and to throw the course in as few shots as possible, the course that was put in front of me. It's not my job to make the determination if that's a good hole or a bad hole or where something should be. And again, I just mean I don't have opinions about this course or that course. But when I'm competing, I put those opinions aside because it's none of my business whether that basket was elevated or not. It's a fact that it's elevated, or it's a fact that it's not. And if the tournament director, like this is like art. It's like not my job to like go up think that that painting needed one more flower in the yard in the yard on the painting next to the little house. It's like no, that artist determined that painting had exactly as many flowers as the artist saw, right? And I feel the same way about a course or a tournament. The tournament director, if they decide this hole needs to have OB over here or this basket needs to be elevated, that's the challenge and the penalty we need to make this hole the challenge that they have in mind. They're always right. Always. They're 100% of the time never wrong. No one's ever been wrong for elevating a basket on their course. Not my job on their course to tell them what the basket should be. So it doesn't matter what challenge they put up on that course. It is my job to play it to the best of my ability. Now, again, I'm human. Like I don't like holes where there's luck. Like yeah, you stick a tree in the middle of the fairway and it becomes a lucky hole. Like nobody likes that. But if that tournament director determined that hole should be luck, it's still not my job to question. My job is to play the hole and try not to have bad luck. So all those questions fall into the same category, which is my job is to appreciate the art that they created, not to think it should be different.
Here's one. It says if we just finished a B-tier tournament, Harvey has continually trying to save strokes. We had to correct him on at least 7 holes during the round. How does the player handle that?
Okay, so here. Okay, will you do me a favor? Will you in the bathroom and drink? Okay, yeah. So this is a tough one. So one of the challenges in our sport is you don't get to decide who gets onto your hole. That's one of it's one of the fun things about the game because it's how we make new friends, but it's also one of the drags because you play with people you don't like or even people that might cheat. So the best thing you can do is if this is happening, the first thing is it's easier to make these calls as a group because then one person doesn't feel like they're always calling that person out. So if someone's making like, for example, if someone's making the call wrong, like I wouldn't ask them their score in private. I mean, this hasn't happened to me in a long time because the tournaments I play in. But if I was to play like an MA2 tournament or MA3 and this happened, the first thing I would do is I wouldn't ask anybody their score until we were all together. That way, when you ask the score, if someone says the score, you have 3 people all going, no, I don't think I don't think so. It's not just like on you. And then I think the best way to address it is I don't think the confrontation during the round, like they're not going to get away with shaving their score because you check the scores. If they turn in the wrong score, it's the wrong score. and then just bring it up to the tournament director and let them know. And it's a drag that they have to deal with it, but that's the job they took on. Like it isn't your responsibility to confront them on it beyond, at the time saying, "Hey, this was not a correct score." You do have an obligation to not allow them to get away with it, because even if you don't care, like it's not fair to the other players. Everybody in the tournament's counting on everybody else to self check everybody else. No, it's a shitty situation though. It's no fun and it's ugly. But I wouldn't get into a confrontation with them as far as saying, "I want to talk to you about you've been doing these scores wrong." That's the tournament director's responsibility, and I would put it on them. Um, but your job is to make sure you do have to make sure they got the scores right. But yeah, make it a group thing. That's such a tough one. It's such a tough situation. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. That sucks.
I think there should be more age from courses, like ballpark food, so moms and kids can have fun, like miniature volleyball.
Yes, 100%. So yeah, the family friendly courses have become popular at a lot of these courses where they're like big courses, especially like in like a lot of like the Ala Disc Golf Center in Sweden has a championship like DGPT style course. It has a super duper high level woods course, and then it has a 9-hole family friendly course. And that course gets played all the time by kids, families, new people, people with disabilities. I think it's great. If that's the only course you have on the property, it might have a hard time getting played because people have to come just for that. Like I think those courses fit in better when they exist on the same property as a regular course or a bigger course. But I mean, almost any place that has room for an 18 course, I'm not saying every place, but a lot of places that have room for an 18-hole course have room for a 9-hole little pitch and putt course, and it'll get used. It'll get used by good players too. It should be, because they can be practicing their approach shots, their jump putts, their short game. Like it's still a fun course to play. But if that was the only course, I don't think a lot of people go out just for it.
Would you be interested in being a commentator for people?
No, I don't think so. Well, yeah, so here's the thing. So first off, that would mean not playing, which I plan on playing for quite some time. I don't think I'd be good at it. I don't think it's my skill set. I think that I think it's a lot harder than it seems. And I don't think I would be great at it. I think I'd be good at commentating like the skins matches and the fun stuff. I don't want to sit there and just like I want to compete. I want to play. And if I'm not competing, I probably want to be out backpacking somewhere. So I don't think it's the best fit for me. But man, I think it's hard. Like I think the worst commentators in all of disc golf, I think, do a very good job, because I think it's way harder than people think.
What do you use for your circle two putts?
Circle two putts. As of right now, I'm putting Wizards. I love the Wizards. I love. I've been putting the Marvel inside the circle and circle, or maybe up to like 40 feet, and then outside that distance the Wizard, which is a beaded putter. We gonna wrap it up? Okay. Oh, I got one question from the disc golf.
It's more the same play the course. He says maybe there's too much OB.
Oh, it said, is there too much OB? But okay, all right. So I guess we're gonna go and wrap it up then. But I see a question that came, which is, do you think that a hole has to be tightly in to be a good hole? And I'll ask the question about OB real quick. Like, is there too much OB? Yeah. So again, I know you said I answered it because the answer is it's not my decision. But I love artificial OB. I touched on it earlier where I said I want there to be anxiety on the tee pad. I really do. I want to feel so stressed out on the tee pad. I love stepping up to a hole going, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare. And then when I throw it safe, I'm like, yeah, and it's usually safe, not always. Um, the, um, but as far as like what things make a hole hard, tight tunnels, distance, OB, it's elevation, it's all those things, everything. Like this is the course designer is the artist, and then you just get to go appreciate their art. They're the filmmaker, and you're watching their movie. I mean, you're participating, but that's, you know, they're making the best use of the land. The thing about artificial OB that I like is that if we had the budget of ball golf, you could put in a lake, you could build a sand trap, you could put in. It wouldn't be artificial OB marked with paint or with flags. You would actually just dig a sand trap there, right? Or a pond. The fact that we use artificial OB means you're playing the exact same hole had the course designer dug a hole and put in a pond there. It's just imaginary. But as far as the quality of the quality of the hole stays the same. It's still the exact same challenge, the exact same penalty for hitting the early tree or turning it over or throwing too low. You're out of bounds. So it's just not as aesthetically pleasing. It looks a little contrived, but I like OBs. There's very few courses that have enough obstacles and challenges, especially as good as the players on the pro tour. Like you have to do stuff to challenge us. I'll give you one analogy. This is the way of looking at the hole. This is going to kind of sound unusual, but this is kind of the reality. You go out to your normal, like, say, city park course. Just say your average, not wooded, but not wide open city park course, 18-hole course. And let's say there's 100 trees on the course that are in play. Okay, well, there's 100 trees on the course in play when you're new. But the better you get, the variance, how much you miss by, gets smaller and smaller. So you're like, it's early on, maybe you might miss 5 degrees right or 5 degrees left. But as you get better, you might only miss 4 degrees right or 4 degrees left. You no longer miss 5 degrees ever, right? Like, your bad throws are between perfect and 4 degrees right, 4 degrees left. Well, as soon as that happens, all those trees that existed between 4 and 5 degrees are no longer in play, which means there were 100 trees on the course, but now that you get more accurate, now there's only 70 trees on the course. And then once you get better, this tree comes out of play, then this tree is no longer in play. The better you get, it's almost like trees disappear. And this isn't me bragging, this is what every pro on the tour will tell you. There are a lot of holes out there where you look at the hole, there's 9 trees out in the fairway. And I look at the hole and I say, there's 1 tree on this fairway. Really, there's only, of the 9 trees, 8 of them I'm never going to hit. You can always put quotes on the road, never, but for all intents and purposes, never. That's only 1 tree in the fairway. And a lot of times that tree's not even in the fairway. So you could have a hole with 9 trees on the fairway, but when the pro steps up to the hole, the tree has 0 obstacles. All the trees have made you do is they force you to throw a hyzer shot, or they force you to throw a high spike hyzer or a hyzer flip or something. They forced your throw. But ultimately, once you've chosen to throw, the trees aren't in play. So you have a course with 100 trees on it. You could have a good player that on that course, there's only 3 trees on the entire course. They're literally playing a course with 15 of the holes that are wide open. So what seems like a course with obstacles to a good player is a course that is completely wide open. You're just dictating, oh, you got to throw a sidearm here. Oh, this is a skip shot. That's a spike hyzer. But there's no obstacles. Without artificial out of bounds, that course is an awful course to a good player because there's not even anything to hit. And the fun of the game is trying to avoid the obstacles and solve the problem. So to me, you have that park, you have 2 options for a pro player. One is to, because this is the park you have to work with, is basically play the terrain that you got. It's a stupid course. Or to put in imaginary lakes and ponds, and then at least you have a course where there's some things you have to avoid. And to me, it's always better to make those courses harder. Just me.
Last question.
Last question. Circle 1, circle 2. There's a 10-meter radius. So 10 meters from the basket, which is 33 feet ish. Anything inside 33 feet is circle 1. From 10 meters to 25 meters. I think it's 25 meters. It's putting outside of the circle is circle 2. Circle 2 actually ends at a point and it becomes no longer circle 2. It's actually now a fairway. I can't even tell you where that is, but the line is 33 feet radius, so 66 foot wide diameter circle. All right, thanks everyone. Y'all are the best. I love chatting with everybody. I miss everybody. I can't wait to see you this year. Follow me. Go to my Discord, scottstokely.net/Discord. That's the inner circle. You get all the new stuff is going to come there first, all the information. If I did have any big announcements in the next 2 weeks, those will be coming to Discord first. So, all right. I love every one of you, except for one of you. I don't like you, but the rest, I'm just kidding. I should have said just kidding. I should have made everybody think it was them. Nah, I love all you. So good night, everybody. Be safe. Do I think when it disc lands on top of the basket, it should be a made shot? No, I think it's a miss. It missed. It was fluky enough to actually hit at the weird angle and stop on top, but I would call it a miss. You putted above the top of the putting area. All right. Hey, love you, John. We'll see you all soon. Later, all.